TikTok time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. To all you whiners, I take back my greeting. Complaining about being 5 seconds late. Like you guys got something to do. What the heck? Tanuk said tech issues. No, it was AP. AP caused it. The Turks.
Definitely.
We were all ready to go. Some Turk ran through here, destroyed everything, and ran off. We figured out it was AP. But then we had to reset everything. Anyway. All right, so we've got been lots of discussions about the Islamic dilemma lately. Y'all seen this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of discussion.
Why is your mic 5 miles away from your face?
Pretty
You know it moves, right?
Oh, yeah. We're good.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like touching my chest.
Oh.
It's good. Yeah, lots of debates on the Islamic dilemma. Avery, David, Chris. I mean, is there going to be more? Is it going to stop? Even Malloy.
I hope there's more.
Malloy cut in on the debates on the Islamic dilemma.
He was on an interesting side.
Yeah.
Because he has to organize everything, right? So that includes the Islamic dilemma debates, you know? He wants to get in on the action.
Yeah, so.
And so, Chris, have you been watching all the debates?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have. Well, actually, let's see. I've seen Avery's. I've seen yours. I've seen mine. Is there any I'm missing there?
Malik's.
Oh, Malik's. I saw part of Malik's.
That right here.
He was he was one of the best.
It was just crazy.
Yeah.
He could. I mean, unless he has massive repentance and like personality change and so on, wouldn't want him on my side. But on that topic, man, hey Malik, no, I can't do it. I can't do a 2-on-2 debate because all the stuff he said with like 3 ways, you wouldn't be able to get it out of my head. You know what I mean? Like all the creepy stuff he said. It's like you can't be a partner with this guy. It's like if. You know, if it was like, hey, you could partner with the Warners, like I can't partner. All the stuff you guys said about the Warner, there's no scenario where that could be something that would ever happen.
Yeah.
But man, Malik crushed it. He finally found something he's good at in life. Defending the Islamic dilemma. He was actually good. And I mean, just think about that. That should tell everyone something about the Islamic dilemma. If the biggest loser on the planet who has failed at everything in his entire life can take the Islamic dilemma and just crush a Muslim debater who brags about being the best at this, that should tell everyone something about the argument. It's a good argument. But Chris, since you've been watching these debates, you see anything that makes you think, wow, maybe this argument isn't as good as we thought?
No. There's nothing that Jake has presented that. I mean, in a way, it's kind of like it's a stupid argument, but he's the only, or at least one of the only guys I think who could pull it off. Because if anyone else said that, they'd be like, "This guy's dumb. Like he doesn't understand what he's talking about. He doesn't actually understand what we're debating here." Like high issues of Christology. Does the gospel teach that Jesus is God, the Trinity, these kind of things? And then you've got Jake who's like, let's talk about legal authority because that's more important. Most people will just be like, man, this guy's dumb. But I think maybe because like he's white and he's American, I think that allows him to say this with a kind of confidence that Muslims are like, he's got a point. It's all about legal authority, and that sells it for them. But yeah, it's hilariously bad.
You know, whenever they come up with something like that, some stupid objection that I know doesn't actually deal with the argument, and then like they start, a guy starts bragging, "Ha, this is the refutation." I'm always like, yeah, go with that. It's powerful. Keep going with that. Because if you run around and train everyone else that this is the way, guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and you're spreading a stupid response, and then you're basically going to convince people of a bunch of stupid it's like the reverse. It's like the reverse of what we're talking about with certain arguments for the non-existence of Muhammad, the certain arguments for Muhammad mythicism, where we're like, this is a terrible argument based on complete nonsense.
Yeah.
we don't want that spread to other Christians who start using it, because then it blows up in everyone's face. Well, the flip side would be if a Dawa guy starts wanting to spread a stupid argument based on complete nonsense,
You want
that will eventually blow up in all their faces. Do it. It's
Oh
very
no,
powerful.
Jake. Oh
Jake's
no, don't
response
give me
is
that
very
argument.
powerful. Everyone should be using it right now. It's very
Yeah.
based.
And don't forget what Jake said to Maloink, though. He said that he was lying, and he's like, they actually think that I believe what I was saying. These debates, like,
Yeah, did you see that, Chris?
I did, yeah. So are we saying that that's in context of the argument he's making? Like, is he saying that he doesn't actually believe that? Or
we didn't see what came before that, but it sounds like he's saying, ha ha ha. Yeah, he said debating. He said these guys think I'm serious when I'm debating.
yeah.
And so it makes it sound like, hey, I'm not even serious when I'm saying all this stuff. And I mean, if that's what he's saying in context, he's saying, ha, I'm not debating seriously. He's obviously debating seriously. To me, that would mean he knows he looked like an idiot.
Yes.
And so I was just faking, right?
Yes.
I wasn't really trying. Later, and some other time, I'll really try, and then you'll see what my real case is. But right now, no, these guys are stupid. They think that was a serious attempt at debating.
Well, if he says he's lying at one point, how do we know he's not lying with his argument to make us believe he really thinks that when he doesn't? Because I don't know any other Dawa gangs who uses this legal authority.
No.
Do you?
No. And he's taking credit for that one, which we'll give him credit for that. We never heard anyone say that before. He's also taking credit for the conscious edits, which I think we heard that was ChatGPT. Right?
From
That was
Maloink.
Maloink said, Maloink right there. He said that was a ChatGPT argument. So I don't know who to believe. Do we believe Malik or do we believe Jake? I don't even know. I don't know. So Jake's trying to take credit for all of the different response. Well, not all of them, because they disassociate and disown. What are they called? Fontana, like Hamza and
John
those guys.
Fontaine. Or
John
Fontana.
Fontaine. Yeah, John Fontaine. All those guys. They say those guys. No. We don't have anything to do with them. We're the general confirmation guys. We're the conscious edits guys, and now we're the legal authority guys. And Jake's trying to take credit for all of that on that side. And
hang on, we got to check audio here. We got a bunch of people complaining about audio. I don't know what's going on.
Whose audio?
What's going on?
Check. Okay, what's the problem, guys? I guess I just have to click on it and watch it for a second.
You do, like, you, David, in particular, sound a bit,
What?
I don't know, not super clear. You're fine to hear, but the audio could be better. And I'm not sure if that's because it's the wrong audio source. Someone suggested it might be the camera picking the audio up rather than your microphone.
We don't have a camera picking up anything.
No, we can see the bars going up on the interface.
Some people saying it's okay.
It might actually just be the room.
We need it.
All right, we'll figure this out.
No, that's definitely picking you up, David, actually. Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's picking me up.
All right, tap this one.
That's that one.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's like something to worry about.
No, if a bunch of people are going to whine all day, then we're going to sit here for 3.5 hours. They're saying a split second. Well, we do have multiple mics, and I don't know if it's because we're not wearing headphones and we have someone, so it might be picking up. Hey guys, people are saying not so bad and so on.
Someone said David's voice is funny. He sounds American. So yeah, I want to do something about that one.
Wait, so how is David's not good and ours is good? Because we're all connected to the same source. Like, we're all connected to the same.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Some people say there's reverb on David's.
I'd say reverb. Yeah.
Okay, guys.
It might just be the room.
Guys, what do you want to do? I can sit here right now and learn how to use this Roadcaster and figure out all the settings and figure out how to troubleshoot that. Or you can live with it. Which would you prefer? And then I can figure it out later. But right now, you're talking about, I'm going to have to watch a tutorial and figure out what's going on. So you take your pick. Take your pick, dang it.
Let me listen on my phone.
Hang on. Oh, yeah.
The audio is being corrupted.
Hang on. I can say it real quick. Hang on. I'll just play myself real quick. Would you prefer?
Wait.
Oh, you sound okay.
Figure it out later. But right now, you're
sound
talking
fine.
I'm going to have to watch a tutorial and figure out what's going on. So you take your pick. Take your pick, dang it.
It sounds good to me.
Oh, yeah.
The audio is being corrupted.
Yeah, but it might be an issue that's popping up at certain points or something like that. All right, we're just going to roll with it, guys, so you can cry all you want. One of the things that normally helps, because it's we got the echo cancellation on because we're also listening to Chris and so on like that. But it should be better when we're all wearing headphones, which we could always set up for next time. I just wanted to check for what headphones we want.
All right.
All right. What's this? Apologetics Roadshow. I find it touching that you are patting David and Chris on the back. True friends, this dilemma stuff is nonsense. Now let's clarify which of your gods did not die on the cross. What a dope
guy.
I feel like I got to put that up there. That's too funny. Let's see. Where'd that go? There we go. I find it touching that you are patting David and Chris. Wait, Apologetics Roadshow is patting David and Chris?
So you're patting yourself on the back.
Yes. Look at this. And look, now I'm going to pat Chris. Good job. On the back, true friends. This dilemma stuff.
It's nonsense.
Is his name actually Whack Ass?
Bro,
dude, your name is Whack Ass Ahmed.
Name checks out.
No, that's what that's a real Muslim name.
So, just so you know, man, whenever you start saying this dilemma stuff is nonsense, you've already exposed yourself, man. You guys are getting crushed on the Islamic dilemma, man. And you can't come up with it. You can line up all your debaters on the planet and they all sound like complete jokes. What are you laughing at?
Jai's broken.
The name. No, the way you said his name.
What, Whack Ass? What's so funny about Whack Ass, man? It's different cultures.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Whack Ass.
In their culture, instead of patting on the back, they whack the butt.
Hey, is this the Warner? Is this the Warner's burner account? Whack Ass.
Whack ass is what happened with the Zoot in the desert.
Oh man. All right. So yeah. Again, just so you know, Whack Ass, when you start saying the Islamic dilemma is nonsense, we're not taking you seriously because we know this argument is absolutely crushing everyone. All right, so Chris, we're going to start watching some clips here in a second. We'll have to figure out what order we want to go in because I pulled out 2 clips but then we've got some timestamps for the video. But anything you want to say beforehand?
Beforehand. Yeah, so I just kind of want to explain why I did it, I guess.
Why'd you do it, Chris? Why'd you do it?
Yeah, why I do it. So I don't usually go on Muslim channels out of principle because I don't think they're going to be fair. It's not that I don't think they're going to be fair. I know they're not going to be fair. But in terms of like advertising my new Islamic dilemma book, which is coming out either in March or April, depending on how it goes, I thought, I'll just go and raise some publicity for it. And I was having a back and forth with Jake on Twitter, and he said, I'm a coward if I don't join his live stream and debate the Islamic dilemma. So I went, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So I jumped on the live stream the next day, and we had like a 3-hour chat about the Islamic dilemma.
3-hour chat.
Yeah, it was It got progressively worse as it went on, really, because it became clear that he wouldn't actually engage. I said like multiple times throughout the chat/debate, you are not going to actually engage with the Islamic dilemma in this discussion, are you? And he was like, no, I totally will. Like, I will eventually go into the stuff that does contradict, that's not the legal authority. And suspiciously, that never happened. I mean, I pushed him right at the end, but then he quickly got off that and didn't want to talk about it because he realized he didn't have any answers for it. So yeah, he did make some admissions that I thought were pretty interesting. So yeah, it was worthwhile, but it is 3 hours that you have to sit through patiently to watch those little snippets. So it's not for the weak of heart.
He did get really disrespectful at one point too, didn't he?
What?
Yeah, he tries doing little jabs.
Yeah,
Chris, you tell me.
Say the word. I see the whole bookshelf full of Quran.
I'm just saying, is this a Quran demolition ranch offense or not?
Oh, nah, it was just like, I can't remember what he said. Oh, he called me Christopher. He was like, listen, Christopher. And just weird stuff like that. Weird little jabs. Yeah, he was like,
But wasn't he trying to like pit you against like David and?
Oh
Avery?
yeah. Oh yeah. It was more about you and Avery. The
Yeah.
whole thing, basically, apart from the beginning and end, was about you and Avery.
Yeah,
He basically was like, I want a rematch, and I'm going to make you beat Avery and Avery. I'm going to make you beat both of them, and you need to have David and Avery's position, and then I'll refute you. And I was like, but I'm not David and Avery. And he was like, I don't care. And then he was like, I won't talk about the Islamic dilemma properly until I beat David and Avery, and then he'll refute you guys through me, and then he'll finally talk to me about the Islamic dilemma.
What is wrong with this guy? And he just had 2 debates with
But he
David,
had
and
David
Avery.
and Avery.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then he wanted. So after you had a 3-hour discussion, doesn't he also want like you to have like another discussion? Like, let's clarify our views on this. So after 3 hours, he still doesn't know your views or something.
Yeah, he didn't. I actually said this to him. I said, look, you can't have actually proven anything I've said wrong because I've not actually said anything about the argument yet.
So
he was like,
3 hours of discussion with Jake.
I know.
3 hours of discussion with Jake, and then, hey man, let's clarify our views together. It's like, what were we doing for those 3 hours?
Yeah, it was dumb. So go on, DOC.
It explains why he has 8-hour discussions with his fellow Muslims about shirk and tawheed, and they don't arrive at any conclusion after the 8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was dumb.
Like, close to 10, yeah.
Because just keep going around in circles.
Yeah.
It was a lot of like asking the same questions again. And I'm like, why am I answering this again? There's no point to this. But he was just like insisting on it. So
it is a weird situation that Jake just like decided to debate everybody, and he's still not touching the Islamic dilemma. And then he like insists, no, I get to respond to this. Well, that's not our argument. Well, I don't care. That's what I'm saying. The argument is it's like that narcissism kicking in with like, with the Islamic supremacist vibe of, lots of Muslims just act like everyone is under their control and everyone's their dhimmis, even though they ain't controlling but 2 things, jack and squat. Right. But I don't know. It's just
he wants to get all that jizya, like he's all about that jizya.
That's what he's calling himself, the jizya collector.
And I'm just wondering, it's like, wait, Jake destroyed all the other Dawa guys, gave them all Fs, set himself up as the last Dawa guy standing, and then goes out and makes sure he gets crushed by everybody. And it's like, brilliant plan if your plan was to completely destroy Dawa. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, let's take these first couple of super chats, and then we will jump into a clip. Now, Chris, I have the 2 clips because I asked. I said pick out. I said we don't have time to go through all 3 hours, so pick out a couple relevant clips where he's saying something interesting. So you sent me those. You sent me 2 clips, so I have those ready, and then we have Jai's got some. We cool with starting with the 2 clips I got ready. Does that work?
Yeah. What was it? The 44 to 54 timestamp one. Yeah. Do that one first, I think.
Yeah, okay. We'll start with that one. Let's see. DOC is so pretty.
Yes.
Thank you.
She's married. Real Hakeem.
Oh, I thought it was a lady.
Hakeem, happy Saturday morning from Australia. God bless. Saturday. Just finished D. Wood's debate defending Islam debate. Not sure which debate that was. Hadith where Momo covered in semen. What's wrong with people, man? What's a debate? What's audio? Could be worse.
What's audio? What's a microphone?
Only way to beat an Islamic dilemma is to come to Christ. Yes, that is absolutely correct. And we just wonder how long it's going to take them to figure that out. Please give illustrations of what leg off means.
Legal authority.
Oh, legal authority. Okay.
Well, Jake's only example of that is 929.
I'll tell you an example. Surah 5, verse 43, when the Jews had an adulterous people that they wanted to punish, legal authority would have been, what is their punishment? They came to Muhammad. Muhammad said, why do you come to me when you have the Torah, God's book? So the legal authority is to do with like legal punishments, rulings, etc. So the Torah was the legal authority there.
Yeah, and just to understand what Jake's been doing, so going way back, if you go back almost 20 years, the way we would present the Islamic dilemma back then was the Quran confirms the Bible but contradicts the Bible. So the Quran's got a problem there. And Muslims would respond back then, yes, of course it's affirming the Bible, but only the initial inspiration of the Torah and the gospel. Later, it was corrupted. And we're pointing out, like, no, there are a bunch of verses in the Quran that refute that. So I reformulated it to clarify, and I said, no, you've got these verses affirming inspiration, you've got these verses affirming preservation, you've got these verses affirming that the authority is continuing. And so so that it became common for people to kind of break down different categories of verses and so on. And then even in each of those categories, there are like subcategories. Like on the authority issue, you could say there are verses saying that the Torah is authoritative over Jews. There are verses saying that the Injil is authoritative for Christians. And there are verses saying that the Torah and the gospel are authoritative over the Quran in terms of whether it is actually revelation from Allah. So those are like subcategories under that. And then same thing with preservation. You have all sorts of things you can point to, different kinds of verses. So you have ones where Allah just says he's confirming these. You've got verses where Allah says no one can change his words and so on. But the point is those are all pieces of evidence. Those are all pieces of evidence that don't fit with the Muslim claim. The only thing in all of that actually fits what Muslims believe is is the inspiration part. Yeah. That they believe that the Torah and the gospel were originally inspired. Everything else, it makes no sense if the Torah and the gospel have been corrupted. And so if what Muslims believe are correct, there are all these different kinds of verses in the Quran that make absolutely no sense and that they have to reinterpret and twist and distort and do all the things that the Quran condemns Jews and Christians for doing. They have to twist the meanings of Allah's words to get it to fit with what they believe. But that's exactly what the Quran condemns Jews and Christians for doing. So you have all these different categories of evidence, and Jake gets a brilliant idea. Well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say that the Islamic dilemma is them saying that the Torah and the gospel are legal authorities over Muslims, even above the Quran, which I've never heard anyone claim, right? But he insists on that and he starts attacking that, which based on that, it's a complete straw man. He's attacking an argument that we aren't using. But apart from that, even if we take that really, really stupid argument, even if we ignore the really, really stupid part that he's completely straw manning things, he's going after the authority issue. And his argument is that in Surah 9, verse 29, orders Muslims to subjugate Jews and Christians and impose jizya on them. And they have to pay jizya. And he says, but jizya isn't in the Torah. Jizya isn't in the gospel. Therefore, it's Islamic law being imposed on Jews and Christians. And therefore, the authority issue went away. Well, no, it didn't. The authority issue didn't go away even slightly. We could grant everything you're saying. It doesn't change the fact that when the Quran is telling Jews to judge by the Torah, Christians to judge by the gospel, that makes absolutely no sense if the Torah and the gospel have been corrupted. Mm-hmm. Telling Muhammad, hey, if you want to confirm your revelations, go to the people of the book, makes zero sense if what Muslims believe about the book is correct. It makes no sense at all. So the way we're using all of these points, Jake has done absolutely nothing to address anything. It's like he wants like really stupid Muslims to think that he's offered a response. And so, with all the chest thumping, got him. And Muslims will think, wow. But that's exactly my point. If you want to run around convincing a bunch of stupid people to run with this response,
go with it.
Do it. Yeah. Because there are always intelligent people who are watching going, whoa, I get their argument over here. It's a lot and that doesn't do anything to it. And they're thumping their chest acting. Maybe these guys don't actually have a response to this, which you don't. And that's why you have to go with stuff like Jake uses or like John Fontaine. Oh, no, it's talking about a completely different book. That's why you have to go with some stupid response that makes no sense because there's not a good response that makes sense. If there were a good response to the Islamic dilemma that actually made sense and refuted the Islamic dilemma, don't you think someone would have come up with it by now?
Wakas. He says, legal authority, yes, you guys still have legal authority, but not creed. Actually, Surah 10, verse 94 gives the Bible authority by creed because it says to Muhammad, if you doubt your revelation, that means the veracity of the revelation in terms of creed. Then you go and check with the people who read the scriptures before you. What were they reading? It's not about which legal penalty for what crime, that doesn't help him to know it's from God or not. It's creed. So veracity in terms of is it from God and does the creed match? And also in Surah 7 verse 157, where it says to the Jews and Christians, he is in your Bible written down in your books.
Find him,
What does that give those books? Authority over what? Over when you open it, is he in there or not? If he's there, he's good. If he's not there, he's a liar. What does that do? It gives authority to the books that came before the Quran in terms of veracity. Our problem with the Quran isn't the legal rulings, because stoning is the same here and there, even though those verses were abrogated in the Quran. Don't find them anymore. But in Islamic rulings, the
original Quran.
The original Qurans, the stoning was there. But do I go to that to see if it's the same book from the same God? No, because he could have copied the legal rulings. It's the creed.
We got this comment from Whack-Ass Ahmed. He says, Apologetics Roadshow in a few days, more than 10 hours in total, just because of the debate with Jake's new invention. May Allah reward Jake. David is truly impacted, but not in the Zut sense.
So we do live streams.
He agrees that it's Jake's new invention, because no scholar ever said that nonsense in 1400 years of Islam being a religion.
And no dawah said the opposite. We'll show that later on. We'll show that later on.
That's why it's a new. Isn't the new invention haram in your religion? Isn't that
innovation?
Innovation. Isn't
Innovation
that
is in the hellfire.
Wakas?
Yeah, and so Whack-Ass Ahmed, you need to understand, dude.
Hey,
Like,
Wakas?
Jake debated me. He debated Avery. He had this long show with Chris, and he's going to be debating other people. So we're loving going through this and showing how terrible his response is. Why? Because he kind of set himself up as all the other Dawah guys are losers, and I'm the last Dawah guy standing. And so guess what? If he's the last Dawah guy standing, this is obviously the best we're going to get. And so we really want to make sure everyone understands just how terrible this is. And if you want to keep, I'll just thump my chest to get all the victims of 40 generations of first cousin marriage, thinking that we're very strong. You keep doing that, buddy, and then keep wondering why you got this avalanche of apostasy going on.
He's like, may Allah reward Jake for his innovation bid'ah.
Yes, his bid'ah is very strong.
May Allah reward him for his invention. May Allah reward him for his invention in our religion.
We worship Jake now. Jake contradicts Allah, but we side with Jake.
Don't do that.
Giant DOC, look into Saint Mercurius Abu Safin.
Oh, you know that? You know him?
Abu Safin, okay. Yeah, we'll look at it.
I'll write it down.
Do you think the Holocaust was planned by the devil? Oh, I get it. Planned by the devil in order to oppose the founding of the state of Israel, opposing a prophecy that he somehow knew would be fulfilled soon? No idea. You're talking, I mean,
this is the demon guy, right?
It's Nordine. Hey, Nordine. Hey,
yeah.
Nordine,
I was like,
what's
that's
up, man?
Oh, we did something on witchcraft for you?
Yeah, you didn't see that stream.
Oh, no, and you weren't there. It's about Epstein and...
So we reviewed Ollie Dawah's video about Epstein using the
Kaaba, the kiswa of the Kaaba as witchcraft.
Well, it's not. They were saying this for witchcraft.
That's what Muslims were claiming.
So there was a lot of things. So we went into the sources showing where Muhammad had black magic, as Muslims call it, performed on him, and we were showing how actually the only place you're going to go to, the only person you go to get authority over demons is the Lord Jesus. So
yeah, you would have loved it.
You would have loved it, man.
You weren't there.
Yeah. See, when Nordine posts like 50 comments all saying the same thing and going in a different direction from the show, it's annoying. But then when Nordine just disappears, everyone's like, where's Nordine?
Yeah.
So we like the occasional comment from Nordine. And Nordine, just as another piece of good news for you, we were talking to Brother Rashid about getting together and recording like a Through the Quran series, but we're just going to start with one chapter of the Quran and go through it verse by verse. And anyway, we're going to be starting with Surah 18, which is where you get the sleepers of the cave. You get that Moses encounter with that weird kidder dude, and then you've got Dul Qarnayn, aka Alexander the Great, but also with the stuff with Gog and Magog and so on. So you'll be happy. You'll be happy when that comes out. And we're going to show how stupid that stuff is.
There you go, man. Should be excited for that.
Chris and Jai should look Brady Bunch style. That'd be cool. The English brother causing mischief of audio. He thinks partial authority affects the Islamic dilemma. I know. Yeah. As a general rule, if I can grant every single thing you're saying and it hasn't come within a trillion miles of touching my argument, keep using that response, buddy.
Yeah, please do.
Doesn't the Quran has partial authority because it has abrogated verses that no longer are used?
Yep, that's what Avery cooked him on.
Yeah.
I learned that from Avery.
Yeah, and it's just hilarious because I said this on Twitter earlier today. It's like they'll use an argument. Ha ha! Our argument is so brilliant, and you take the exact same argument, but they don't realize that you can use the exact same argument on them. And as soon as you use the exact same argument on them, they go, "Oh, what a stupid argument! What are you stupid? Only a moron would use such a stupid argument." It's like, this is your argument that you literally used 5 seconds earlier.
Exactly.
Oh, good times, good times. Be there or be square. Chris, hold my tea. Tea. You know what we got here? You know what we got here, Chris? Coffee.
Coffee?
I thought you were going to show jihadi tears.
High octane. High octane. Yeah. Oh, and we drink
got these too.
jihadi tears.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, should I make a Dawa tears variant?
Yeah.
Dawa tears.
Jake's tears.
Fill it up with Jake's tears.
Good news. Since you were late, I was actually on time. Lol. Nice.
Do you see how that works?
Ex-Muslim here, the term revert is incorrect because Surah 4:94 says you were initially like them, disbelievers. Then Allah blessed you with Islam. So according to this, no one is born Muslim. Well, I guess you're born Muslim and then you're all disbelievers and then you go back to it's pretty confusing. It's also weirdly completely unfalsifiable. You could say everyone is born Buddhist. What?
Yeah.
How can you refute it?
You have to interview a baby.
Baby. We should do that. We should do that next time a baby's born. Hey, baby. Say la ilaha illallah. Oh, you don't know. You can't even recite the Shahada. How's this guy a Muslim?
Big Muslim.
Fake Muslim. Hey, what? Recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Do that. Do that. What an idiot. He can't even recite Surah Al-Fatiha. This man was never a Muslim.
That's all that was test.
Hey, David, I have a request. I have been trying to get in touch to send a gift to Giant DOC's way to help replace items left behind. What's the best way to do this? Well, yeah, contact them.
I think we responded. We said we don't have a P.O. box set up. We don't have anything.
If you want to send something, you can contact me. I'll give you my address since it's apparently public knowledge now. And
just ask Malik where we are.
Yeah, go to my YouTube homepage. It's got my email address. You'll have to click on something that says email, and then you can send me an email address, and you can send it to me, and I'll give it to them.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go, and thank you for that. By the way, whatever you want to send us. Yeah.
And no comment there, but thank you. I want to read the Quran to learn what Allah says, but I don't want to bring that evil home. Do you have any tips or prayers to use so I can read the Quran without inviting that evil into my home? Well, if you're going to be reading it, I mean, if you just mean you don't want to bring the book home, you can read it online or something like that. And if you don't want to bring it into your house, you could go to a library and something like that and read it. You can read it on a computer in the library. You can read it, an actual hard copy in the library. But
one of the things that we did when we were doing the Islamic Dilemma project was one of us was reading the Bible. Well, we prayed first because this was like a long, we had to go through the entire, like this
Quran,
this chapter. So it was like a lot of reading of this demonic book. So we spent a lot of time praying, and then when I would take a turn reading and then do my notes, and then DOC would take a turn reading, do her notes, while the other one was reading the Quran, the other one was reading the Bible.
Or praying. Have someone pray for you while you're doing it.
But if you don't have that, then just be very, be prayed up and just give more time, obviously, to the Word of God than you are to the evil book.
Don't read it all in one go. And don't read it all at night.
Whatever you do not sit there and read the Quran for 14 hours straight to raise money for charity. It will absolutely kill you. And it is actually really spiritually draining.
Doing it for 24 hours.
I felt absolutely killed. So yeah,
Chris actually did that.
Yeah, he did
his brain was mush for 2 weeks after that. I'm pretty sure. Oh, hey, this is interesting. I'm pretty sure him saying that we think he was honestly debating was referring to his debate with Malik. That would actually make sense when he says, "Ha, people think we were seriously debating." Did he say I?
Yeah, I'm gonna check the screenshot.
We knew that he was still manning the Maloink was still manning the position but he was too sincere with the punches, man.
Yeah. No, not Malik. Jake. If
Oh,
Jake
you were right. He did say we were debating seriously.
Oh, okay.
They
That
think
would
we
make
were
sense.
debating
Okay,
seriously.
thank you, Hurricane Andrew. That actually makes sense.
But why did Malik not know? Malik said no. Ha ha ha. So Malik didn't. He's like, wait, we weren't serious. Malik was not.
and that's
Oh, yeah.
that's bull. And that's bull. Now Malik's not serious in that he's not legitimately defending the position. But he was serious. He was seriously steel manning the position, and Jake was seriously trying to respond, and trying not to get embarrassed. But he got embarrassed anyway, and so people think I was seriously debating, but I wasn't. Yeah,
they also think I believe what I said. So that was one of the things that we said as well, which was that he's like using this as bait for Avery's debate. You know, he wants Avery to hear something he's saying here and then respond to it. But as if that's gonna, like, you think we're gonna fall for that? And then he says he was lying. He was lying to Avery, and you know that I was lying. And then
About
he says
the doxing and the using
liar.
women to hurt each other.
And then speaking Muslim, give him some legal advice not to get involved with some paperwork.
Powerful. Is Nordine actually Naomi?
No, he's too nice.
I don't think so. Yeah,
and he makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was actually Naomi, it would just be, "How dare you? How dare you?" Now the question is Naomi actually Greta Thunberg? That's the real question.
Oh, did you say she did an update on? Remember you looked her up the other day to see if she responded to you guys? Did she? Or no?
I did look over that. I didn't see anything that was directed towards that.
She should have like doubled down and just been like, "How dare you!" Like even more. That would have been great.
Luke 20:15 and Romans 13 is my answer to jizya. Yeah, that's you've got legal authorities in the world, and it's just weird. It's like, I mean, when Muslims move, so think like in Surah 929s, if Muslims take you over, then they will impose jizya tax and not force you to convert or kill you the way they would with other groups and so on. But if Muslims go to let's say a Christian country, guess what? They would have to pay taxes to the Christian government. It would be a requirement on them. And so would that mean that Western nations, Western governments trump the legal authority of the Quran and so on? So anyway.
No one believes that nonsense. Even Muslims don't believe that.
No.
You're under the legal authority of the government you're under, the non-Muslim government. Doesn't mean the Quran is not khalas, over, abrogated.
I love when people like right in the middle of a live stream change their names. So here we have whack-ass Muslim. How dare you, David? This is a family name passed down from our very first cousin, Daddy.
His name was
His
name was Wakas the First.
Catholic S'mores says 27 more debate losses and Jake is officially zooted. Yeah,
yeah, that's bad. He's guess what, guys? He's actually offering more debates to more people.
What does he want?
How
many more times?
He wants 27 more, so he can say,
he wants the 30.
I got zooted by the Islamic dilemma.
Yeah.
Can we get DOC to debate on that channel? Lady Logic cooked the Muslimas. She has the fire that'll wake them up. Oh, hi, D. Wood, Jai, and Chris. I didn't see you there. For future reference, if it ever comes up, you interested in taking part in debates, DOC?
Yes. I want to debate Junior. Can I please debate Junior?
She really wants to debate Junior.
I really want to debate Junior. I'll take it easy on him. I really want to.
Follow up. For me, it's not for a lack of faith. I just don't want to invite those blatantly evil energies into my life, but I do see the need to know of the evils out there. That's up to you how you want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think if your conscience is that much against it, then just watch like David's videos, watch videos that are out there, watch our streams, so that way you don't have to go through this. If your conscience is that like against reading the Quran, just watch our stuff and you can learn from that.
Then we have, let's see, David has poor Jai and stitches with whack ass. I mean, I'm just reading the name, guys. All I do is read. I'm not a fan of Jake, but
all we do is read, guys. Like Avery, we just read.
Hey, look at this. I'm not a fan of Jake, but you have to admit he totally destroyed the argument that no one made.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Chris was saying at the beginning, was like he was like forcing him to take Avery's position and David's position, which he's like,
who does that?
He's like, I don't have a problem doing that, but I have a different view then.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, I mean, just imagine like like I got into the debate and I started attacking John Fontaine's position or something like that. And then Jake's like, that's not my position. Like, no, you have to defend John Fontaine's position.
Otherwise you're running away.
You're running from the responses to the Islamic dilemma. It's like,
it's
what planet do you live on that you think this is how debates go?
It's not just straw manning, but it's like you're forcing your opponent to argue your straw man. It's like, what are you thinking?
But he lost the straw man too because no one believes legal just because someone makes you pay some money that your book is now no longer. No one believes that. The Jews paid the Romans taxes. They didn't believe all of a sudden the Torah is khalas over.
And he's not even saying that the God, and Chris, you talked about this as well, like that the gospel is still an ongoing legal authority, and the Torah is still an ongoing legal authority. It's just you have this additional thing you need to do as well. So it's not that they lose their authority; it's that you just have this additional thing you need to do. Yeah. So he's even admitting that. So it's like, dude, what is your argument? What are you doing?
Since when is paying money debunk anything? So I can pay money and not do some things that I need to do. I don't see how money takes away authority. It's just money.
We didn't even get into the clips yet.
It's just money. It's tax. That's all.
Tax for being no infidel.
If you're an infidel, you pay a tax. Just like Muslims pay zakat. Doesn't mean anything.
Mo money, mo authority. We had did you see Robert Spencer Judiciary Committee today? No, did not even know about that, but that's interesting because they used to. These various government agencies and so on used to have Robert speak until groups like CARE started complaining and like they wanted to do the education on Islam and so on. And the government actually fell for that nonsense. So it's actually super cool if they're now getting Robert again to do stuff.
Yeah, I saw a clip of that.
Might check that out. I used to think you were a jerk, David Wood. As it turns out, I was the jerk. Here's a little jizya. God bless you. No, I'm a jerk.
That means all authority is now in David's hands because he's been paid jizya.
He's a legal authority now.
Yeah, he'll tell you what to do legally.
I'm legal 30 and kind of a jerk sometimes. A super sticker. Thank you for that. Giant DOC, I love your faith and your rooting in prayer. By the way, can you pray for me? Muslim cowboy put Allah's curse on me because I made a zut joke.
Muslim cowboy put a curse?
You put a curse on him. Yeah, we'll pray for you.
Just have Jesus be your protection.
Call to the Lord Jesus. Yeah.
Cowboy can't do nothing.
Malik's Zoroastrian agent with Mossad against Dawah. There's got to be something going on here because this is weird. For every 20 minutes past, Chris speaks for 20 seconds. Love you guys. Have a blessed day. Well, we can finally get to the video.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to jump into this first one?
Let's do it.
Here we go. This is, and you just said this minute to this minute, so I wasn't sure exactly like if you meant to the second, but I tried to start off.
Just you have to do it. Yeah.
The exact microsecond.
Let's see what we got here, ladies and gentlemen.
But we're not going to jump over that because this is the groundwork that furnishes my point for the discussion regarding inspiration and preservation. You think that they're not connected at all, and I'm going to show you how they are connected. But I'm not going to do that before I skip over what I'm actually arguing for.
It kind of sounds like you're just trying to argue against the man, not the argument.
No. Who determines what the Islamic dilemma is?
The person you're debating?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. That's what I say. I say, me?
Yeah.
She has,
they went from weird. What's the debate? What's the contradiction?
What's the Islamic dilemma?
What's the Islamic dilemma? Who determines what it is? It could be. It's whatever we want it to be.
Who am I debating?
Oh boy!
What the?
And this is another example of him making a completely insane claim. But if you were to make the exact same insane, if you were to hold him to that standard, he would suddenly realize how insane and stupid it is. It would be like if we're having, matter of fact, in order to do this, we should just do it with some Muslim and then blame Jake. But like, suppose we're debating Muhammad in the Bible and they give this case based on Daniel 2, and I start attacking, their claim about John 14. Says that's not what I'm arguing. I don't even believe that. Well, I mean, Zakir Naik believes it. And
Who gets to
determine? You or Zakir Naik? Obviously, Zakir Naik, right? And it would never cross their minds. Like, I'm the one who's debating, so I decide what argument I'm defending right now and how I formulate it. Dude, you don't get to respond to some random person. What a dope, man. It's so weird.
How is he like a debater and like a guy who studies
He's meant to be a philosopher. Yeah. What determines what the Quran is? The Quran is whatever I determine it to be. Can we get away with that nonsense? I have to quote things word for word or Muslims are on our back. He gets to determine what the Islamic dilemma
Yeah.
is.
Oh man.
All right.
It's really, I mean, it's some weird combination of like stupid and delusional and insane and everything else all wrapped into one. But Jake, if you want to, I mean, you know, I think did you stop calling yourself the Muslim metaphysician? Because kind of the entry price into the world of philosophy is trying to adhere to the laws of logic. Like if you walk in there, hey, I don't care about the law of non-contradiction. I don't care about that at all. I'll violate it all I want. I can straw man anything. I can make up anything. I can cherry pick all I want. They're gonna be like, get out of here, man. Get out of here. You were not made for this.
Jake, you weren't made for this, man.
Yeah, you're not.
You're
Not
not.
made for this.
Sorry, buddy. But you know, you could go do something else. You could be a farmer, a cobbler. You could be a cobbler, like get good at making shoes or something. Just you're not cut out for this, man.
They could do that. Shoe shiner.
Maybe
You
better
can
than this.
continue destroying other Dawa guys. You can do that.
That's
You're good.
pretty
You're good at
Yeah,
that.
That's pretty good.
You're
Yeah.
good at that, man.
Yeah.
You could do it.
Keep with those F tiers. Keep going. Keep going.
I guess on me.
Exactly. So if I'm dealing with Chris,
So why are you bringing up Avery?
because I'm not arguing against you. This stream
No,
here
you
is
are
not-
arguing against me. I'm on your stream, Jake.
No, then you're confused.
No, you're not on my stream,
Jake,
you're
confused about what
confused.
it's about.
When
It's
you
actually
argue
a
someone,
daydream.
you need to give them
I'll
the
let it
benefit of the
appear.
doubt. That
What the heck?
I'm on your stream. No.
no,
Oh, no. How am I talking to you? Are you talking to a ghost? What are you talking to here?
I feel bad that Chris's like abilities have been wasted upon what's reality. I'm here. Are you really here? No, I think Avery's here.
No, you're not. You're not on my stream. You're confused.
I was so confused. It was like, look, I'm not debating you. And I was like, but you are though. I'm here. And it was like, oh no, I'm doing Avery. You don't understand. And I was like, I'm so confused.
Oh boy.
Now, here's what's weird. If that's what he wanted to do, he could like request. And I don't know why. If he's debating Avery, why does he insist on you defending Avery's position? Or, you know, like I don't get why you'd want to do this unless it was just someone who refused to debate you. But you could always request. Like suppose he said, David, I want to respond to Wes Huff's version, his really simple version of the Islamic dilemma that's just 547. I'd like to respond. I'd like to see if that can be defended, but Wes Huff won't debate me. So could you defend Wes Huff's position? I'd be happy to.
Right.
That wouldn't be my argument, but I would be happy to use Wes Huff's art because it's a good argument. I'd be happy to use it and so on. But you'd have to kind of request that if that's what you want, and you'd have to get the other person to agree.
Yeah,
And just to go in there and like, no, I'm the Muslim. I decide who defends what and when. Yeah, this is how I roll. Yeah, you're going to have an awesome long debate career like thinking like that, Jake.
Yeah, and Chris, you can correct this, of course, because you were the one having the interaction. But I'm pretty sure that the initial starting thing was you were just saying, hey, book's almost done, ready to go. And he responded to you by saying, hey, don't buy this book because it doesn't respond to my answer to the Islamic dilemma. So it sounds like he's challenging you directly. It doesn't sound like he's challenging David or Avery or anyone else.
Exactly, yeah. I was, man, this whole thing was so confusing for me.
But you know what I think?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
go
on,
on,
Jesse.
Chris.
No.
I think he was still recovering from Avery's demolition of him.
Yeah.
You know, the next day, if you've been traumatized the previous day, you're like, I wish Avery was here. I wanted to tell him something.
Let me at him.
Chris, can you be Avery for 2 seconds? Let me just direct at you what I wanted to tell to him, but I couldn't in the moment.
Yeah.
I think he had a little bit of whack ass from Avery, and I think it really upset him. So, yeah.
Hey, you know what'd be funny? Hey, is Whack-Ass Ahmed still here?
He's probably gonna change his name.
Hey, Whack-Ass Ahmed. Yeah, since you're here and you're hey, Andrew Martin deleted one of his messages. What did he say? In your churches, you have hundreds of status and priests. Hang on, I got to put this comment.
Oh, he didn't even get the like. Oh, this guy, I didn't know his English was like that. He probably didn't even understand what we're laughing at.
Oh, bless him. He doesn't know.
Yeah, hey, Whack-Ass. How is that still funny to you? Oh, here we go.
Just the emphasis, the way that you say it, it's like.
Yeah, one of the mods started timing him out because he just keeps spamming really stupid stuff, and they're getting sick of it because we're trying to focus on a topic here. But where'd that go? Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Yeah, Whack-Ass Ahmed says, in your churches you have hundreds of status, and priests have to kiss them everywhere. It's fetish. Don't throw stones in glass houses. This is from a guy who kisses the black stone. But hey, I wanted to point out, hey, Whack-Ass, since you're here doing you're trying to do dawah and stuff, you should make a dawah channel called Whack-Ass Dawah.
I'd subscribe to it.
I'll subscribe. I will let us know when you make your channel Whack-Ass Dawah. We will help you promote your channel, and you use all your arguments because we would love to hear all your Whack-Ass Dawah arguments. We would love to hear that stuff.
He's gonna be up there with Junior.
So priests kissed status.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Shame on all you priests who kiss status.
It's been a while since I kissed my priest. Apparently, I mean. What on earth does he think happens in a church, man? You can tell these guys have never actually been in the church. I always find that fun.
We don't need to when we hear from our imam what it's like.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, back to Jake here.
They themselves are the one presenting the argument. If you want to debate Avery again, you can go debate Avery again.
Exactly.
I'm here, right? So let me present the Islamic dilemma, which we haven't even gone into yet.
You made a claim that this is the way the Islamic dilemma is presented. Then you made a claim that, other people, they don't present it the way that you are. You're making the claim that I'm not targeting the Islamic dilemma. And I'm showing you that I'm targeting the Islamic dilemma in the normal manner in which everyone else presents the argument.
Everyone else. More gaslighting.
There is no the way everyone else presents the argument. I mean, again, Wes Huff just presents at 547. And I pointed out, you can use the one verse variant, and you don't have to just go with that verse. You could use 1094 as your entire argument. You could use 285 as your entire argument. And you could use just confirmation. You don't need to break it down in terms of inspiration, preservation, and authority the way I do. You could just go through all the Quran verses where Allah says He's confirming the previous scriptures, confirming. You could just make that the Islamic dilemma. If the Quran confirms these scriptures but contradicts these scriptures, therefore Islam self-destructs. You could say it like that. There is no this is the way it has to be.
Yeah, the more I went through this conversation, the more I started to think, I feel that Jake genuinely thinks that inspiration, preservation, and authority is actually it's not a summary of what happens in the Islamic dilemma, but it's the actual thing in and of itself. He kind of gets confused. He thinks that when we say inspiration, preservation, and authority, that is the argument, not us just summarizing what it impacts and what it demonstrates. It's kind of weird. But go on, Jerry.
Right. No, exactly. That's exactly what he thinks. And so when he's saying he's attacking the authority, he actually thinks that that's taking down the entire argument, because he thinks that that's actually essential, or no, a particular definition of authority. But David was saying, when we run this on Avery streams, and we do Surah 2, Surah 3, when we went through just different chapters of when we're doing the Islamic dilemma, we would typically just go with one verse when a Muslim would call in, and we would just how do you respond to that? We would just run the dilemma on one verse that the Muslim would come in on. So you don't even have to have this elaborate 5-point whatever. You just, like David said, West Huff style, just one verse. See how they respond to that one verse, because you can run it on 50,000 different verses in the Quran.
Allah repeats it 19 times, just saying, I confirm. Yeah. You can choose any one of these 19 times. He said, I'm tackling it in the normal way. I've never seen any Muslim tackle it in that way. That's why Wakas said it was an innovation. I've never seen that before.
This is Wakas. And then he jumps off a cliff. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I think of when I hear his name.
Hey, Jake. Lots of people change their names when they convert to Islam. If you still haven't figured out a name, you might want to go with this Whack-Ass. And you could go by, you could still keep your name in the middle, like Whack-Ass Jake. Whack-Ass Jake Broncatella. You should roll like that. Good stuff. Anyway, we're coming up with awesome ideas to help you out, man, because we want you to spread your awesome responses to the Islamic dilemma. All right, here we go.
Everyone else presents it that way, do they?
Yeah.
There's no alternative opinions.
What's that?
you know full well there's people have different opinions. People think the Islamic dilemma is who will be made uppermost. So Al-Man Ayah 55, right? Like there are people that have different ways of arguing this. Like I said at the very beginning, the Islamic dilemma is a branching, broad umbrella term for lots of different points. So people can present it however they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm presenting it to you right now in a particular way. And I want you as a da'i to be able to defend against that. Because
what Chris just pointed out right there. So he's pointing out that in the Quran, Allah promises Jesus that he's going to protect his followers till the day, make them superior till the day of resurrection. And even afterwards, Allah says he did it. Allah says that he aided the true followers of Jesus until they became uppermost. You could take those verses right there, just those verses, and say, okay, who became uppermost? Which followers of Jesus became uppermost? Okay, those are the ones who have Allah's stamp of approval. So who became uppermost? Oh, Christians who believe in Jesus, death, resurrection, and deity. Those are the ones who became uppermost. So those are the ones who had Allah's stamp of approval. So you could run a dilemma out of that. Either Allah helped the right people, in which case those are the correct doctrines, or Allah helped the wrong people, in which case he's stupid and ignorant and has no clue what he's doing. You can make an Islamic dilemma out of that. And has nothing to do with anything Jake's responding to.
Yeah.
But guess what? These are there's an entire family of arguments that emerge from the fact that the Quran is making claims about people and about books that do not line up with what Islam says. And you can make 1,000 different arguments based on this.
But I find it like really funny that a Christian has to sit a Muslim down and tell them like a child, this is how we debate. I present something to you, and you as a da'i, don't pretend I'm someone else.
Yeah.
In the way I present it, you tell me what you think. Like even the graciousness of us, of Chris telling what this meant to be, like a experienced da'i, how to just do ABC of anything. Why do we need to do that? Like you ought to know how to do it. You talk to the person in front of you.
Right.
Am I crazy? Or?
Hey, maybe. Now I got a theory. Maybe he was watching Sheikh Uthman when he was in the mosque hiding from God Logic, and they're like, "No, he says you challenged him to debate. What's a debate?" Maybe that's what Jake is. He's like, "What is a debate? What is that? Is that where you just go in and tell people what they have to do, and you make all the rules, and they have to defend whatever you say they have to defend? Maybe it's that." Let's go.
It would show me that you are confident, that you have good answers in doing so.
And I have no
I've
problem
already told you. First of all, if I go with your legal authority argument, I say it falls at this point, and I demonstrate.
1 second. Thaddeus is saying that this might be because of the echo cancellation, because we're not wearing headphones and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, yeah, it's something we can't fix right now because we need multiple headphone sets and stuff. So that'll be something we'll fix in the future. But yeah, this is kind of new. This is kind of new stuff for us.
Yeah.
This kind of new stuff for us. So we're going to run into some issues along the ways, and we'll resolve those over time. And by the time we're all completely set up in our official setting, we'll be multicam and so on. We'll have the mics. We'll all have headphones on. And if there are any issues besides that, we'll troubleshoot them and figure it out. And if all else fails, I'll hire a tech guy to come in and sit down with us through everything and fix anything that is not working. So, yep.
And you agreed with me. Then you insisted, no, I want to talk about how Avery and David present the argument. And I'm saying it doesn't matter how they present the argument. This is how I am presenting the argument.
It does, because as you said,
you want to debate
if I'm debating against a particular person who has a particular way of presenting the argument, then if I make an argument against the way that they present it, then my argument, and it hits, then that means my argument is sound. That's how it works.
But it doesn't conclude. Like the premises don't lead to the conclusion.
It does.
The conclusion for you is the Islamic dilemma is wrong, but your premises with legal authority have nothing to do with that.
What I mean by that is the normal manner in which the Islamic dilemma is presented.
Yeah, here's what's crazy. First of all, false.
Right.
Yeah. The things you're saying about legal authority do not affect my version of the Islamic dilemma at all. They affect your straw man of my version of the Islamic dilemma.
Right.
They affect your straw man. Your argument doesn't affect Avery at all. It only might affect your straw man of Avery and so on. So on the one hand, no, your argument doesn't affect the Islamic dilemma that we use at all. But besides that, no one has to use our version of the Islamic dilemma. So any version of the Islamic dilemma that someone wants to use, that's on them. It's just, I mean, can you imagine like the level of narcissism that just forms within these Dawa guys just instantly? I get to go into a discussion and tell you all what you can and cannot do. And I make all the rules. I make all the decisions. I tell you what argument you're defending. It's just like, guys, like get one drop of humility. I don't know.
It's like you said. It's like going on there and forcing him to defend John Fontana's version of the answer to the right. Like
we don't do that with them.
No, when we're talking John Fontana, right?
We take Hannah Fontana, John Fontaine, his story.
We don't make him defend Jake.
We take Daniel, Haqiqatshu, who hates this guy, Jake, and Jake hates him. We don't bring him up to Jake.
Yeah.
We take him when he's in front of us. We take. What I don't get is why is he spending an hour about debating? He's debating about debating. Can we get to the points, please?
But
he never does.
This too. When he debated Avery on this. He actually had a discussion with Avery on this point, and Avery responded to him. He's like, "This is a defeater for Avery's position." No, it's not. We just saw you try to run it against Avery. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
This is. I mean, I'm planning on watching the debate with God Logic this coming week because I'll be traveling and so I'll have some time. So I haven't watched it yet, but we only watched the cross-examination part that Avery posted. But I heard that in a bunch of the rest of the debate, he keeps talking about me.
Yeah.
David Wood. Yep. And then he's talking to Chris and it's David Wood, Avery. And it's like, just imagine if I did that. Muslims would suddenly understand how completely insane it is. Suppose I went into my debate with Jake and I start responding to Daniel Haqiqatshu stuff and John Fontaine stuff.
Yeah.
And that's all I do. I start going after John Fontaine's stuff. And then just imagine Jake's like, well, no, you have to address my argument. No, I'm addressing John Fontaine because John Fontaine says this and he has people who listen to him. And so John Fontaine, suddenly it would occur to him how stupid this is. But when they're using it, they never understand how stupid it is. They never understand how absolutely crazy it is. It's just like, I think we just talked about this yesterday, but it reminds me of when they're like, oh, Jesus was a Muslim. And why? Well, we know we can cherry pick this and we ignore everything else. And then we say all the evidence that disagrees with us was totally corrupted and was changed by later people. Okay, well, I'll say Muhammad was a Christian and he was a devout Christian. He was a Trinitarian, but someone came along later and then they corrupted it all and changed it all. Like, oh, that's so stupid. You have no evidence for this. Like, their reasoning ability suddenly turns on. But not when they're using an argument. It doesn't matter how stupid and insane their argument is. Their reasoning is just turned off and they act like it's good until the moment you use the exact same reasoning against them. And suddenly, wow, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's wild, man. Dawa's wild. Dawa is the ultimate brain destroyer.
Yeah.
There's no self-awareness. They know it when other people are doing it, but they can't see when they're doing it. That it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if in your debate he was quoting Avery at all. Because it seems like whenever he's debating someone, he's like quoting somebody else the entire time. So when he's debating David, I'm trying to remember if he was quoting Avery or not.
The speaking Muslim was quoting Avery to us as well.
Yeah, because that was
who got intel from.
Yeah, exactly. His secret agent.
It's like I don't know every single thing Avery has said, and I don't know if you're strawmanning Avery.
Yeah. But we saw Avery debating him, and Avery,
it was fine.
He didn't say anything that we disagree with.
Exactly.
Somebody comes along. If somebody comes along and says, exactly, that's why we're going through this now, for me to prove you wrong and show you the normal way in which the Islamic dilemma is presented. That's the point.
I think you want to debate David and Avery again, and you're trying to do it through me. Why not just debate me? Why not just debate
Chris,
me?
did I ever say that I was inviting you on for a debate on the Islamic dilemma?
Absolutely fine.
Why?
Gaslight alert.
Why
Gaslight.
is Jake running? Why is Jake running from Chris?
And why exactly would we be here, Chris and Jake, for dinner party? We're here for debate. Why do you think he came on your channel?
This is like so childish.
Just to chew the fat? talk politics, of course, about the Islamic dilemma debate. You big
You know when
gaslighter.
people have a discussion and you know it's going to be argumentative, but then it's like a childish little thing. They'll be like, "Did I ever say this was a debate?"
Yeah, right.
You know, that kind of thing. He actually did that, and I was like, "No, really? Okay, wow, that's so childish." He's like, obviously this was a debate. What do you think this is? So
It's
dumb.
pretty pathetic.
Discussion, no problem. But at
No.
least let me
Yeah.
give you my reasons,
I
and then you
did.
address the
You
reasons.
did. You did. You
Yes,
gave
and
me
I
a-
addressed it. And I addressed
did.
it. And you even agreed with me. You've
gave
already
your
conceded
position.
that
You
the
gave-
legal authority is still binding today. You've already conceded this.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. See, now
You
you're being
literally did.
No, I didn't.
Jake,
You're
it's
being
your own live
disingenuous.
stream. It's your
What I
own live
said-
stream. And you said, yes,
what
they
I
are to follow the
said,
guidance
Chris,
and light.
Chris, don't be disingenuous. What I
Sure,
said
nice.
was, what I said was that each person, including Jews and Christians, are going to be judged based upon the amount of guidance and light that they received. That
And
goes
they,
for
okay, so they have
atheists.
to follow the Torah and the Injil.
No, that's not.
The
That's
Quran
not
says the
case.
Torah and Injil
I
are guidance
said
and light.
to you, I said to you, first of all, that we were talking about people who were actually presented with Islam. That's who we're talking about.
Right.
We're
So
not
there are
talking
people
about
that are
the
not
guy in the
presented with
Amazon.
Islam.
We're not talking about the person.
So it's still
who never-
binding.
What's that?
It's still binding then.
No, it's
there are people
not.
in South America that have not been invited to Islam.
Right. And have they heard
There
of the
you go.
Torah?
So
Have they heard-
and guess what? They're
have they
Christians.
heard- Have those
So they have the
people,
Torah and they have the
have those
Injil.
people on the Amazon heard of the Torah and Injil?
I don't know particularly about the Amazon, but in South America, there are people who have not been invited to Islam
but
yet.
Chris, you're not really proving anything.
This is weird because you know, even if his point about 929 wasn't like completely stupid, and you could say, okay, when Muslims subjugate Jews and Christians, then jizya is imposed on them or something like that. Here, he's just talking about once you've been invited to Islam, then Islam is the legal authority. Is that what he's actually saying?
Yeah. So,
and I'm saying that because it's like, okay, if we haven't been subjugated, we've simply been invited to Islam. I've been invited to Islam like 1,000,000 times. Okay, so according to Jake, now Islam is the legal authority over me because I've been invited to Islam. You got
So the
you
idea-
got I'm just saying this leads right into the Islamic dilemma because Jake, I haven't been subjugated, so you're not making me accept Islam as my legal authority. So the question is, why would I voluntarily make it my legal authority? And I'm asking you that because according to the Quran, the only reason I should accept the Quran as revelation at all is because Allah affirms my scriptures, which you say he's not.
Yeah.
So basically, it's because I pointed out that if you look at 929, in context, it's about those who have rejected this, right? So they've been invited to Islam and they've rejected it, and therefore you fight them until they submit, they pay the jizya, so on and so on. So I was just pointing out there are people that haven't even done that first thing; they haven't heard of Islam. So there are still Christians and Jews in the world even today who the Torah and the Gospel are binding legally for them. So I just wanted to show that this idea that it's gone away is not true at all. It is still present. And it's actually probably still present for, I'm not sure of today, but at least in the past for the majority of people. And he conceded this and then told me that he hadn't conceded this. I've made a separate clip where I pieced together everything where he does concede this. But yeah,
Wait,
he
hang
does
on. So you're saying he was gaslighting?
Oh
Where
yeah,
he'll-
he gaslight.
where he'll say something and then 5 minutes later, what? I never said that. What? I've never seen
That's
anyone who
all
does
he
it.
does.
No, I have seen people who do it, but I haven't seen a dawah guy who does this as much.
No.
Just like
does it
say
a
something
lot.
and then 5 minutes later, no, I didn't say that. What I said was, and then he says something completely different from what he says.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
he
what.
does it all over the place.
Well, that's what Surah 4, verse 1 to 3 talks about, what we talked about before the stream. There were groups of Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Everybody had been told about Islam, and the Muslims were saying, we're better than you. Our religion supersedes yours. Our book supersedes yours. And Allah says, no, nay, no, not by your wishes or the wishes of the people of the book. Whoever does wrong is paid for it. So he in the tafsir for that, by Tabari, says that, no, it's not that one book supersedes the other. Each one has guidance in their book, and Allah then it's not by the wish of one book being better than the other. It's not by your wishes, wishful thinking. It's by your works. Whoever does good works from any group of people, Allah will then judge.
Yeah.
So it's not true that even if people who know, like David was saying, even if you're invited to Islam and you say, no, I'm going to stick with my book, Allah will reward you or punish you depending on how faithful you are to that book.
According to Islam.
According to Islam, Surah 4.
And that's what the scholars say.
Surah 4, verse 1 to 3, Tabari says that in his expansion on that verse. He says it's not by wishful thinking my book is better, or our book, even Muslims are saying, our book abrogates your book, our message abrogates your message. A lot like what Jake is saying. And Jews and Christians fully knew Muhammad at the time and everything. They didn't take it. And Allah would rebuke the Muslims for pretending they're better and they had the better book. So...
You're just saying, Jake, if somebody never heard of Islam, will they be judged for...
Never been invited to Islam.
Yeah, never been invited to Islam. Are those people going to be judged and held accountable for having to follow Islam? No, of course not. Just as you don't believe, I would think you
That's
don't
not
believe.
what I'm saying, Jake. I'm saying that the Torah and the Gospel ought to be followed still for those groups.
I already responded to that.
What was your response? You agreed with me. And then you realized what that meant, and then you had to like retract and be like, "Oh, you should look at it through eschatology,
no, not at all.
Heaven and
not
hell lenses." And it's like,
no, not at all. That's been my argument from the beginning. Because what you don't get is, as I already said, even people that have heard of Islam and been invited to Islam, the Jews and Christians, they can still follow their scriptures under an Islamic protectorate in an Islamic society, as long as they pay the jizya. This is traditional Islamic law. They can still follow those things, but it's not seen as that they should be following them, or that they are following them and going to make it to paradise accordingly for following them. So I'm doing you one better. I'm even furthering your argument. I'm saying even people who have heard of Islam, Jews and Christians living in an Islamic society, if they pay the jizya, they can follow their so-called Torah and Injil, but that doesn't mean that them following it is a good thing and that they're going to make it to paradise. That's the point.
Okay, the Christians and Jews who have not been invited to Islam, according to the Quran, should they follow the Torah and the Injil?
No.
Really, no.
Yeah, no.
Okay, according to the Quran, the Jews have to judge by the Torah, the legal rulings in the Mosaic law.
That's the point we're talking about now.
Okay. Wait. So they have to follow the Mosaic law
in the Torah,
because it is binding. Wait. Will that lead them into Jannah?
No.
At the time of Muhammad?
No.
So it's 610. Muhammad has become a prophet. Should the Jews continue
You're
following
walking
the Torah?
right into it, brother. You're walking right into it now.
No, you just
said. So look, you just did what all of these other Christian apologists do. You just said that according to these verses that say to judge by the Torah or judge by the Injil, you just said out of your own mouth that this includes the legal rulings.
Yes, like I've said this whole time at the beginning, that's totally the case. 548.
Those are outlawed now. Those are no longer applicable.
Still doesn't get it.
From an Islamic paradigm, no, I'm saying they're still valid, but I'm saying only to those who have not been invited to Islam, right?
Okay, for those who have been invited to Islam, are those verses abrogated?
From an Islamic paradigm from the Quran, yes. What I'm saying to you, I've already said this.
You're the only one who holds this position. You're the only one.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm the only one. I'm very special.
Yeah.
Right. So in South America, for example, there are Christians who have not been invited to Islam. According to the Quran, do they still go to heaven if they follow the law in the gospel?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. What? Not necessarily. What? Does the laugh up a coin? No? Like why not necessarily?
Because it depends what you mean by the gospel.
Oh, what do you mean?
Depends what you mean by what
What's the
Injil?
What's the
Injil?
Oh man, this is
the
hard.
Injil.
Yeah, he by the way, just throughout this entire debate, some of the foundational questions that like all the other guys deal with, like what is the Injil, what is the Torah, John Fontaine's perspective, Dean Respon's perspective. I actually asked him in the debate, I say, what is your position on this? And he says, basically, he doesn't have one. He actually takes the position, I forget the name of the institute. There's an Islamic institute where this guy,
Yaqeen.
No, not Yakin.
Oh.
Bashri or something. Something with a B. Basically, he's like this guy that.
It's not the Whack Ass Institute, is it?
No, not
Okay.
that prestigious.
That's a new one.
But
That'd be a good name.
basically, there's this YouTube channel called I'll try and find it, the Bashri Institute or something, and he does videos on the Islamic dilemma, and his take is insane. His take is basically when the word Torah or gospel are used in the Quran, the author is like secretly meaning two different versions depending on the context. So sometimes he means the actual Torah and gospel, and sometimes he means our corrupted version of it. But he doesn't tell you this. You just have to like infer it somehow. But anyway, that's basically what Jake said his position
Sounds
was.
very clear. Sounds like something clear.
Allah is
Yeah,
super
it's
clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad.
Hold on a second. It depends on what you mean by what they're following in it. But you don't understand what you just did, Chris. You just took out some of the favorite verses as part of the Islamic dilemma, Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verses 43 up to 48. Some of the favorite verses constantly argued back and forth. What's that?
That's some of my favorites. I love them. I love those verses.
Okay, exactly. So those verses, which are constantly argued, why are you saying that they're your favorite verses when you're now admitting that according to the Quran, they're abrogated after the time of the Prophet Muhammad for anyone who has been invited to Islam?
Because it has no effect on the Islamic dilemma.
It does, because you
the
said
whole
that
point.
those are your favorite arguments from the Islamic dilemma.
Because those verses don't just talk about legal authority. They make it absolutely clear that a confirmation is mentioned. So Ayah 46 talks about Musaddiq, confirmation. You can see in 47, the Christians don't stand on anything unless they hold by the gospel. What happens if they don't hold by the gospel? They're to be punished. So yeah, that has something to do with legal
authority. The first thing you mentioned was legal authority when you mentioned
are those verses only about legal authority?
According to me, yes, they're about legal authority.
Only about legal
See what he
authority.
did
They're
there?
about laws in the context. For example, 543 is in the context of law.
Yes,
548 is in the context of law. All of that section there is in the context of law, primarily. If you wanted to make for example, if you wanted to make an argument where you said, Jake, well, no, I think it's actually including this other aspect, I'm actually happy to go with that because it's only going to make my argument stronger. However, at the least, we would agree that those verses there are primarily about law, correct?
No, I think it's just more broader than that. I think he gives examples of it, but
So
I think it's
543
clearly
you
about
don't
other
think
things.
is primarily about law with the Jews?
Yeah, I don't think he's getting it. It's okay. 543. We know the historical background was about a law, but it goes on to talk about the scriptures. And then when it talks about Jesus confirming the Torah between his hands and the gospel confirming the Torah, it's just confirming the Torah. It's confirming the Torah. And then in verse 48, Muhammad comes with the Quran. It's not just the legal rulings in the Quran. When it says that Allah revealed the book to Muhammad, it's not just saying the legal rulings, it's the book. It's the book. And when as Christians judge by the gospel, it's the book. You're judging by the book. And then it says in verse 48 that the Quran confirms the scriptures that came before it. It's not just if Allah means, oh yeah, it confirms only the legal rulings, but not anything else. He really needs to clarify this stuff.
Yeah. And I want to know, does Jake have any scholars to back up what he's saying? Does he have any scholars, even on his major argument on 929, does he have any scholars that say what he's saying? Or is he just making
got one.
Have you heard of
we already know
Sheikh,
that. The new guy.
Sheikh Wakas? He's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, Sheikh Wackass and Tafsir Trust Me Bro.
Yeah, Tafsir Trust Me Bro.
Has anyone come up with Tafsir Trust Me Bro yet?
We can write one.
Yeah. Wait, was it written one?
We should go ahead and write our own tafsir that's just filled with all the things that Dawa guys say that have no connection to actual Islam, and we'll call it Tafsir Trust Me Bro by Sheikh Whack-Ass Ahmed.
It'll be like the red book that Avery has, but it'll be for for Trust Me Bro statements.
I have a simple question. Since when is Surah 5 verse 43 to 48 abrogated? Since when are these verses ever abrogated?
Yeah.
They're not. And in verse 47, I believe, 46, sorry, Allah says that it's guidance and light. So is just the legal rulings guidance and light? The whole book is guidance and light. So the book...
And you pair that with chapter 3, verse 3 and 4, which is for all mankind.
Even in 43, where it's actually talking about legal ruling, it says, why do they come to you when they have the Torah? In it is the rule of Allah.
Yeah.
So in it is the rule of Allah amongst other things. Creed, like he said, theology, and rulings.
Y'all catch that? That's an important point.
Fiha.
So it's Allah confirms that they have the Torah, but he says in it. So among other things, there's also, so there are lots of things that are in it. Not in the same sense that there were lots of things that were in Muhammad, but, you know, completely different sense. But it's not just legal rulings.
Yeah, fiha hukmullah.
Yeah.
In it is the rule of Allah.
And it's when it.
There's another word for all. If you want to say all of it contains this, you could say it like that. And that's what Allah would communicate if it's perfectly clear, like the Quran claims he is.
And if the Quran makes distinctions between real legal rulings and creed and theology, it doesn't say that. It just praises it all. Praises it when it's a legal ruling issue. Praises it when it's a guidance and light theology issue. Praises it when apparently Muhammad's in it. It just praises it. It doesn't make a distinction.
Yeah, so Jake doesn't do anything to anyone's version of the Islamic dilemma. He doesn't do anything to when Avery articulates it, when David does, when Chris does. He does nothing to it. His argument does nothing to anyone's position at all, and he just keeps making it worse for himself because he's making these rulings and statements on these books and these verses that none of his scholars have ever said. We went through the commentaries on these verses.
No one ever said until they hear of Islam, then the rules are different.
Yeah.
Before they hear of Islam, they can follow the book. But then once they hear of Islam, forget the book and run to Muhammad.
Yeah.
That's what they did in Surah 5, verse 43. They ran to Muhammad for a ruling. And he said, why'd you come to me? Go back to your book. So what happened to Islam then? Where was the authority of Muhammad and his new book then when they came to him? He told him to go back to the old authority. Yeah. And those verses are not abrogated. If they are, I need a scholar who tells me that, or I need Muhammad to tell me that.
Yeah, so Chris, is he like agreeing with you that that's what's happening here? Or is he just like saying, okay, that's your position, let's go with it? Or is he saying, I agree with you that these are...
So he kind of pushes back on saying, hey, verses 43 to 48 are just about legal rulings, which I think is obviously not true. But yeah, his position is just weird. Either way,
I can see why after a 3-hour discussion he's like, okay, let's do another stream where we clarify our positions because after 3 hours with this guy, he's as confusing as anything.
It's not the position of any scholar.
Yeah,
any Muslim scholar even. It's not the position of Islam.
A few more seconds here of this one.
No. 543 to 548. When you include other aspects of it, when you look at 46 and 47, I think they're clearly not just in the case of legal authorities and legal rulings. It includes other things as well.
It does include legal rulings.
It does include them, yes. Yeah. Okay, but I'm saying it's not just limited to them.
But that's the point. So if somebody presents the Islamic dilemma argument and focuses on Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verses 43 to 48, including legal rulings, and they don't hold your position that those legal rulings are still binding upon Jews and Christians even today, after the time of the Prophet Muhammad, even after they've been invited to Islam, then my argument regarding authority targets them and that particular argument, doesn't it?
I don't understand.
All right, so that's where that clip ended.
So
it shows legal rulings are still applicable. They were applicable at time Muhammad.
Yes.
When Islam was at its peak with the Prophet actually alive.
Yeah. And so what Jake likes to parallel this to is like chapter 3, verse 50, when he's saying that Jesus, so Jake's view is that Jesus is abrogating certain laws of the Torah and permitting certain things that are prohibited in the Torah. That's Jake's view. He thinks that means somehow that it's like saying that, hey, this law that you guys have here, now you guys need to follow this. This law, now you need to follow this. That's the same thing as saying, oh yeah, and you know, you guys believe like the Exodus, right? Oh, that never happened actually. That event never happened. You believe that God is, you know, you believe that God is this or God, even though it says like the Bible describes God as like a man of war or something like that. Well, that's actually not the case. God's not a man of war. Or so it's saying that this law applies and this law doesn't apply is not the same thing as saying this historical event or this theological statement about God is false, which is what the Quran does over and over and over again. The Bible says something about God, the Quran contradicts that. The Bible says something about history, the Quran contradicts that. And so even if you take his position where these certain legal rulings are abrogated in light of what the Quran says on those particular topics, and Christians should be following those points, Jews should be following those points, instead of what the Torah and the Injil says, he's still stuck with the crucifixion, the fact that God is triune, the fact all of these points that we use to show that the Quran contradicts the Bible, he's stuck with all those. His argument does nothing to those points, those major points that we press.
Just to, this is what I find really weird. That's how basically everyone, when you present it like, here's the doctrines that contradict, we almost always present it in that way, right? Like the crucifixion, the resurrection, the incarnation, these things that the Quran doesn't seem to be reconciled with. Yet for some reason he seems to think that no, we all just talk about legal like authority all the time. And I'm like, I've never seen a Christian just present it, just the legal bit. I've never seen a Christian do that. In fact, to be honest with you, I think as Christians we overuse those exact things, right? God's nature, the crucifixion. We overuse that, in my opinion. I think we should use the prophecies and the prophet stories. I think they're actually much better for certain reasons. But no, Jake thinks that the normative way that we make this argument is to just talk about, I don't know, like camel meat differences and stuff. I don't know. He has a very weird view of how we argue this.
The only time I can think of that actually being the case is when, like, Deuteronomy 24, talking about marriage and remarriage. So like, this woman is married to man number one. Then they get divorced. She's married to man number two. Now she gets divorced from man number two. She can't go back to man number one. God calls it an abomination.
Right, but that's a moral thing, right? That's saying that,
right, exactly. So that would be the only time when you would use a law. But there's a moral, like you said, there's a moral implication there that this is an abomination. And like
in Islam, it's the opposite.
Was it 223 or something like that? 224,
yeah,
something
it's
like
the
that.
halala marriage.
Yeah, halala.
Islam actually forces you to marry man number two if you want to go back to man number one, which is actually doing the abomination.
Yeah, so it's like it'd be like like God saying this is an abomination, and then now he's saying, oh no, that's not an abomination anymore. That's not. So you can bring it up in that context, and I don't even know how Jake would respond to that because he never actually. It's like he never gets to these points. He just keeps arguing.
No, that's intentional. That is 100% intentional. He's not. This was a 3-hour debate about him arguing about what is a debate. How do we do it? Who am I debating? All these classical arguments that apparently people bring up in debates these days. And then there's me saying, okay, Jake, so I have this thing where I talk about like how the prophecies are not in our scriptures, how the stories of prophets are totally different. I'd love to talk about that. And he's like, first you need to talk about legal authority. And if I don't, then I'm not sincere.
It's a distraction because he knows he'll lose. Islam will lose on prophecy. Islam will lose on the prophet stories. Islam will lose on theology, creed, the nature of God, the will of God. Even moral things like what Jai was saying about the abominations, because some of them in Islam are the opposite of what the real God wants. So he goes to legal ruling because dietary things, there are differences between the Old Testament and what Jesus said we could do. So he goes in there thinking there's a way in to save the Quran.
That's what the commentaries for 350 actually say. They say it's about like dietary rulings and things like that. When you go to the commentaries in chapter 3, verse 50, that's what it says it's about. That these are about dietary rulings. Food you can eat, food you can't eat.
As if to judge a prophet for if he's real or not, I need dietary rules. Like, it's so silly. We don't judge by dietary rules.
The Bible says you judge by the Torah. You go by that's the ruling. You go by, are they in line with the Torah or not?
And Muhammad actually breaks the dietary rules of the Torah.
Yes, he did. Take these super chats real quick. We'll jump into the next clip. I'm sorry I can't concentrate because I can't stop laughing since I watched David and Jai's live showing how God logic cooking with a spatula. Love y'all. God bless y'all.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
That was classic from Avery. I find it interesting that Islam gets things right, but for the wrong reasons. Yep. Muhammad was just stealing things left and right and couldn't tell the difference between what's correct and what's not. So, yep, he gets some correct things in there occasionally. A partial Islamic dilemma was presented by Wes Huff on the Sean Ryan show yesterday. Yeah, I'm guessing he gave his the classic Wes Huff Super Simple edition. But I'm going to check that out because it's awesome that he gets on these bunch of big shows. And then that's one of the things that really, really helped popularizing the Islamic dilemma was when he was on big podcasts giving just a very simplified version of the Islamic dilemma, which is 547. Quran orders Christians to judge by the gospel. Fine. I can either do it and I have to reject Islam, or I can reject Allah and not do it. So what do you want me to do, Muslims? Either way, doesn't end well. But it was cool because Muslims tried to respond to it, and that got more of a conversation going about the Islamic dilemma. Cool times, cool times. It's called the Quran for a reason. They all ran. Oh, the Quran. Personal question for D. Wood. Do you think if Nabil was still here, the Dawah scene would radically be changed? I read his stuff, and you knew him the best. I don't know, like what you mean by would it be radically changed? It would be. I mean, we would have had an extra warrior on our side, so that would have helped. But yeah, I don't know how things would be radically different right now. Jake reminded me of the Jim Carrey sketch where he's a karate master and teaches women self-defense. When a woman hurt him, he learned how to defend himself only if he was properly attacked. Oh, yeah, you got to know how to grab my arm. In this guy's mind, it was AI Chris. You don't understand the guys. Jake, the meta confusion.
Yeah.
Get Samuel Green to discuss his Jake Trinity debate. We could. He debates using the five ways of Jake Kundawa. I don't know how he didn't name his channel Jake Kundawa. Like that was a massive misstep from him. Who is the best Christian debater at the moment? It's going to kind of depend on like the topic and stuff. Yeah. So there's certain people who are great at debating certain topics and stuff.
Naomi.
Naomi.
So when it comes to like,
I have to say God Logic right now, man, as far as like the one who's doing the having the biggest impact and cooking the Dawah guys most effectively, I think it's God Logic. And the reason that is awesome is he's still really new. I mean, he's only been around for a few years and already just steamrolling these guys. And so, yeah, awesome times.
Shout out to Avery. Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Jake isn't a product of 14 centuries of whack-ass cousin banging. What's your hypothesis other than following a whack-ass religion and why Jake's logic and arguments are so whack-ass?
Because they're not true. And he knows they're not true. That's literally it. Like, I've always thought this, right? Wouldn't it suck to be a debater and you know that you're not actually true? Like, you know what you're saying is like false, but you have to make it convincing. Well, then that's what you could do. You get Jake. You get a white American convert who's figured out there's a gap in the market for portraying these obvious falsehoods in a way that might be palatable to people who are just completely ignorant. There you go. There's a place for Jake.
Yeah, and being in that rough position of converting because you heard some stupid Dawah nonsense and you're like, oh, let me revert to this. And then it becomes your whole identity. And then you find out that it was a bunch of complete nonsense, but you're too much of a narcissist to say, wow, I got duped. I was stupid and gullible and I got duped. And you can't say that because now your entire identity is as this revert and so on, this white revert. And so you just keep defending it. Even though, you know, all the particular arguments were stupid. And it's like, I mean, I'd be interested in hearing from Jake. What were the reasons you converted? And let's go through those. And then after that, okay, since those are all really stupid, what are your arguments for remaining Muslim now that you realize all those arguments are stupid? Because we actually heard it from Ali Dawah. He converted. He says he converted because of the scientific miracles. Later on, he said he realized the scientific miracle argument had been completely debunked. But I stayed a Muslim anyway. It's like, wait, what? Okay, what are your reasons now? Oh, because a square it don't be a triangle. Yeah, it can be a house, but you know that. And it's like, seriously?
Yeah, he actually gave his reasons for why he became a Muslim. He in one of his videos. I think when I was just discovering like who he was like some years ago, I watched it and it was like the dumbest thing you could ever like. It was like the word middle appears in the middle of chapter 2. Like that was literally it. Like you were expecting something like the metaphysician. You were expecting something like a little deeper than that. The word middle appears in the middle of chapter 2, and he just has the dumbest reasons for why. Like that's what he offered for why. Like this is why. He was like, this is why I think it was like I think the video was something like why I reject Christianity and why I accept Islam. It was like something like that, and it was like the dumbest reasons for why he rejects Christianity, like based on his misunderstanding of the atonement and to Trinity and things like. He just has the stupidest arguments for everything he does, and yeah. So I don't know. I think right now though, like what's happening to him, I think he's just getting like this could be an example of just someone just becoming more. And like, you know, doubling down and intensified in their sin and in their stupidity and their stupor, and it just getting more worse. And it's like like a Pharaoh situation where, you know, you'll have like God sometimes if they're going in that direction, God will be like, oh, that's where you want to go. Okay, he's strengthened. Okay, you want to do that? Okay, strength. But if the person turns and repents, then God doesn't say, oh no, you're going that way anyway. So no, God will accept his repentance if he comes to him. But I think that's what it is, because Jake just keeps getting more stupid, more worse as he goes. He's like not getting any better. He's getting worse. I mean, it could be a medical thing too with him, but I don't know exactly what his condition is right now. But you know, it could have some effect.
It could be that, or I was thinking two things. Either I've heard from Muslims who left Islam that just before they leave, they start arguing with Christians extra hard to shore up their position, and he's been unhinged, like doing 14 debates in like 2 weeks, all against Christians, and you know, really wanting to fight hard, and no one's fighting back that hard. Either that, or he wants, you know, grace from Allah about maybe for personal reasons, and he wants to score points with Allah by debating all these Christians.
That's good.
No, there is that issue of when they're like having doubts and so on, they posture more and they try to put on a show as a way of compensating. Nabil did that. I can show you guys. I still got the emails and stuff like that. Nabil, the year before he converted, I mean, he started. We'd be arguing about something, going back and forth, and he would like sign his email, "Humble servant of the truth," and he starts like speaking more and more formally to me, and I'm like, What's going on with you, man? We were like best friends for years, and now you're acting all like acting all weird and stuff. But it's you know, find out later he's just being eaten up with doubts and stuff, and you compensate by appearing more devout.
James White would talk about that when you talk to Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, stuff like that. Like, oh, I'm getting stronger in my faith, and when he's stronger in my faith, and he said like
strengthening my iman.
Yeah, exactly. He said the amount of times he's heard that from like young Mormons, and then all of a sudden they would leave their faith like months later or whatever. Or I don't know the exact timeline, but he said like that was like one of the signs he knew that they were about to leave Mormonism or whatever.
My favorite thing ever is when I see Giant DOC, you just made me a better Muslim. You just made me closer to Islam.
I love that stuff.
They're about to leave.
Yeah, because we'll like look for that guy, like his name or their
and
name,
they would have left.
And it's like a timeline of like, okay, check that, keep monitoring that name whenever you see it.
Yeah, I'll see you in a year, man. I'll see you in a year on this side.
Yeah.
Jake, debating y'all and using this straw man feels like the Dawa guys are just trying to buy time because there's no real answer to the Islamic dilemma. God bless you all.
God bless you.
Sure looks like it.
Yep. Idea for a call-in topic: ask Muslim fathers of daughters in the range of 6 to 10 years to defend Muhammad.
Actually, you can watch the evolution of Ali Dawa on that. Before his daughters reached that age, like early on when he was going to Speaker's Corner, he would say, yeah, I have no problem marrying them off at this age, you know, nine. And there's a recording of that. It's bad quality, but there's a recording of that. As his daughters got older, there was a recent debate where he was debating some like 16-year-old at Speaker's Corner. I remember we covered that. There was like a 16-year-old girl they debated. She brought it up to him, and now that his daughters are older, or probably around that age, I don't know how old his daughters are, but probably around that age, he changes view on that.
Yeah, he's not for it anymore.
That is an effective. It is an effective question to ask fathers who have daughters in that age range.
They probably say, "Oh, they're different back then."
Yeah.
He is really upset by how small a reach Islam has. I think he's more upset by how small a reach he has, right? Like it seems he really thinks he's supposed to be like the top Dawa guy, and he can't figure out why.
Yeah.
What about the people behind the giant wall? Did they ever heard of Allah, and why are they trapped there? Imagine they never heard of pizza, Berliner, and so on. We'll be talking about all that when we go through Surah 18. Jake the meta gaslighter.
Yeah.
Jake the meta confused. Honestly, guys, my hat off to you. I don't know how you do this. It's exhausting. Yes, it is. You just got to be relentless. $2 for D Wood to say whack ass and watch Jai crack up. In Jannah, men of Al-Zut get 70 momos. That is true. That's what I've heard. If Allah's will was to create different groups so they could compete in good works, why punish them when they choose to stay with one of the groups he willed to create? Yeah, I don't know what Jake thinks about Surah 5, verse 48, but he keeps saying that he doesn't think it means what it obviously says. Allah says right after telling Jews that they have to judge by the Torah, right after telling Christians that they have to judge by the gospel, he says right after that, and we gave a different law. We gave a different law to different groups so that they would remain different groups and they would compete with each other in good works. So how do you read that and go, oh yeah, he's saying he just wants one group. He just wants one group with one law, all following the exact same law.
Yeah,
It's like the opposite of what he says.
Allah says, if I wanted to, I would have made you all one nation.
Yep.
Jake keeps saying, you better be one nation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what Allah wants. That's why
One
he gave us all
nation.
different books.
One
One
nation
nation
under
under-
Jake. Not the Zoot sense. It was Al-Zut who split the moon, not Momo. That's true, but I'll be sharing video about that. My response to Sheikh Uthman. Jake wants solid dates, but fiqh doesn't know any. Muslim don't understand dietary restriction basis. Audience capture explains all the crazies online. Greetings from Philippines. God bless you guys.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
Almost through these. Jake has earned his stripes in the time-honored tradition of Christians bestowing nicknames on the legends of Dawah. I propose Jake the fallacious position. It's the least we can do to show respect. I don't know. We've seen quite a few names for Jake in this live stream.
Yeah.
Jake got that whack-ass hikmah. He's got that whack-ass hikmah. Nice.
Oh, you see that guy's name? That guy.
What was that? Oh, Giga Jai. Jai and Giga Jai. Jake got that whack-ass hikmah. Nice. All right. Let's check out this next clip here. We'll see.
Okay. And then that changes to you accordingly, according to 929 going forward. Now the Jews don't need to follow all of their Torah?
If they've been invited to Islam. But the
Okay,
Jews,
good.
as you and I have agreed, are still actually binding to the Mosaic law, even
Good.
today,
Good.
if they have not
Chris.
been invited to Islam.
Okay, good, Chris. So now I'm telling you that David, Avery, Sam, all these other people, they don't have the nuance that you do. They're saying that Quran 285, also their reading of Quran 1094, and the verses in Surah Al-Ma'idah, they don't make a division between the early period, which when these are fully legally binding and authoritative, versus a later period. So I am targeting their argument saying, hold on a second, I'm targeting their argument when they have the reading of 285 that you just gave, but
Okay,
they
we're
don't
gonna
think
find
it's
everybody.
abrogated.
I mean, I just want to put, there are
Yeah,
lots
go
of problems with him saying, oh, this earlier thing, Surah
Yeah.
5, that was
Yeah.
not that much earlier.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've even seen Muslims say that Surah 5 was after. So I think Khalil Andani says that Surah 5 came after Surah 9.
There's debate about that.
I don't believe that.
There's
but the
some
point
debate
is,
on that.
Surah
Yeah.
5, it's not like Surah 5 is the Meccan period or something
Right,
like that. I think it's pretty clear that Surah 9 is after Surah 5, but like by like a year or something like so. So what's Allah doing going to people in Surah 5? You Jews, you judge by the Torah. You Christians judge by the God. I'm going to change this a year from now. But that goes back to me saying that like they seem to think that we think that the Quran has this coherent position.
Yeah.
And we're saying this coherent position in the Quran is different from the coherent position that Muslims believe. No, the point of the Islamic dilemma is that the Quran is incoherent. So when you read in Surah 5, Jews you judge by the Torah, Christians you judge by the gospel, Allah wants different groups to have to have a different law to follow because he wants them to be separate groups that all compete with each other in good works. If you then read Surah 9:29 that you have to violently subjugate Jews and Christians, you have a couple different things you can do with that. You can say this is punishing Jews and Christians because Allah told them over and over again in the Quran that they better go back to the Torah and the Gospel and better judge by them, and they refuse to do that, and they keep worshiping Jesus and worshiping Ezra and stuff like that. And so, as punishment, you're just subjugating them now. You're just subjugating them. So you can read it. That's how I'm reading it. Or you can just say, no, he changed it. He changed it in Surah 9:29. Now everyone has to follow Islam and so on. That doesn't solve the problem of the Islamic dilemma. That really just would make it look like it would add a complete inconsistency to it. Like Allah's telling you one thing and then suddenly just changes his mind and doesn't even make it clear, and he makes it really confusing. And so
Changing his mind.
There it would just look like Muhammad just, I'm more powerful now. Now I can do something else.
Yeah.
So they annoyed me and they still rejected me as a prophet. Okay, I'll do this. And it just makes it look like he's just inventing this religion as he goes along. But the point is, however you interpret that, Islam is still incoherent. It's just an incoherent position.
Where does he get the rule that Surah 9 supersedes everything in Surah 2, 3, and 4 and the whole Quran?
Yeah.
Where does he get that from? First of all the verses of the Islamic dilemma that we use, Surah 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're all Madanis. They're all later surahs. But you don't have a rule as Muslims to shred the Quran into earlier and later and decide for yourself what's more authoritative. Unless you have Muhammad telling you. If Muhammad says this verse is abrogated by a later verse, or the scholars at least, you don't have the authority to sit there and say 9:29 abrogates Surah 5. This is like insane to me because you just cancelled your Quran.
Yeah. So this is crazy. This is what I wanted to comment on as well. So when we talked, so this is so you can do this in many different places. You can see this, but you can talk to Muslims about what you think the Quran is saying, and that's what Chris is obviously doing here. He's giving his view, like this is what he thinks the Quran is actually teaching. And then there's another view, which is, okay, we're going to try to, like, even though Chris isn't giving, Jake isn't giving Chris much resistance here. He's actually allowing him this position. He's working with him with it. But if you wanted to remove any sort of wiggle room at all, you could hold them to like, okay, these are what your scholars say on this point. And so we can stay within that and still be within the Islamic dilemma or a version of the Islamic dilemma. Take away any wiggle room that they want to. Or you can do like what Chris is doing and say, look, this is my actual reading of it. This is what I think makes the most sense out of the Quran. And then I'm going to bring you through it here. You can do that. And that's what Chris is doing. But like when it's like 568, for example, like, David has a view on 568, which is like, I think makes sense as well. But there's the view that you have from the commentators as well. So it's like you can do either one. It's like, do you want to remove wiggle room? Okay, go with that one. You still have the Islamic dilemma. Or you can take, this is what David's view is, or Chris's view is, and this is what we think makes most sense of the Quran here. But that's what you can do. So I think what Jake doesn't understand here is that no matter if you take Chris's position or you take like if we're sticking to what the commentaries say on this, do you still have an Islamic dilemma? You still have I should say, it's kind of like how they say like there's like I've heard William Lane Craig say this. There's like the doctrine of the atonement, and then there's like theories of atonement. It's kind of like you have like the doctrine of the Islamic dilemma, and you have like all these different ways. Like he compares it like a diamond, these like different ways you can kind of get to the center of it. You know?
Can't abrogate things that are obvious and clear. Like when Allah says, I'm one.
Yeah.
In a surah that's Makki, that's earlier. Does that mean he's not one anymore in the later ones? If he says judge by the Torah and the Gospel, it makes him schizophrenic and stupid to say, oh, stop judging.
Yeah.
Why? What changed?
Yeah, but so this is Chris's
he doesn't say that.
Particular view. Jake's arguing with Chris's view here, but what we're saying is you can take Chris's view or this other view, and
it doesn't
you have
matter.
The dilemma.
Yeah, and it doesn't like saying that, okay, the final prophet is here and now everyone has to submit to the latest rulings. We're just back to the issue of abrogation, and Avery brought that up as well. It's best case scenario for Jake, okay, the legal rulings in the Quran abrogate earlier legal rulings. That doesn't hurt the Islamic dilemma even slightly, not a bit, not one iota, nothing. It doesn't help. So why do you keep pushing? It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
just so anyone who hasn't kind of caught on to this yet, this is just an exercise in like futility, right? There's no actual value in what I'm doing here by just going along with this and entertaining his legal authority stuff, because it doesn't lead anywhere. It's literally so you have the Islamic dilemma, and then you have Jake's weird other problem that he has, and he really wants David and Avery to solve these problems, but they're not here, so he's got to do it through me.
Yeah, so you're just granting him, like, you're granting, like, yeah, like.
But he had time
I'm
with
granting
Avery and
this.
David, and he didn't solve it then either. It's not like they denied him the opportunity.
Oh yeah, and in this conversation, that's totally not a debate, he actually asks me to call you David. He actually says, "Can you call David and get him in?" And I'm like, "What?" I was so like taken back by that. He was just like,
"Wait, he wanted me to come on the live stream."
Yeah, he was like, actually,
Jake,
you know what? Just give
Jake,
David a call. And I'm like,
Jake, if you want to have a live stream discussion, you can message me pretty easily. You've got my email. You know my email. I mean, thanks to your buddy Malik, you got my home address. You can send me snail mail, man. I don't. Anyway, Jake, if you want to have a discussion, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or just you want to have a debate or friendly discussion, or you want to clarify this more or something, just message me. It's pretty easy. Let's see.
In any sense later on. Do you understand?
Okay, so first of all, I'm writing a book on this. It's called The Islamic Dilemma. It'll be out hopefully March, April.
Had to plug that.
That's why you wanted this clip in here.
Smart. Maybe a little bit.
Smart.
Nice. Well done.
And this will have all.
And that's gonna be awesome. You need to challenge everyone to debate you on the Islamic dilemma after that, and just plug your book right there in not just in every debate, but in every section of every debate. Like, say it in your opening statement, and as you can read in my book, blah blah blah, and then in your like rebuttal. Well, if you'd read my book, you'd already know the refutation of this.
That'd be funny.
Please point.
Yeah. What?
So
And you're going to give me a free copy, right?
If you would like one, I would give you a free
if
copy.
you read it.
I appreciate that. But my point is, it doesn't really matter if there's disagreements.
I have to say, it was cool seeing Jake smile there. He normally looks so like completely enraged constantly.
Yeah,
it was good seeing him smile.
I made him smile a few times. Yeah, because I was just really relaxed. I wasn't in debate mode, so I was just like, just chilling. But he was very high energy.
Then he's gonna get questioned later on. I was just lying about smiling, right? I didn't really mean to smile. I was just
smiling in the face of that.
I was deceiving with my smile.
Why are you smiling? You have warm, fuzzy feelings about the kuffar when you're supposed to have nothing but hatred.
I was lying, of course.
Apparently, Chris is one of the Salam al-Masih group. Apparently, I didn't know you were part of any group.
Yeah.
And Meloink was like, "Why you even talk to the Chris? He's part of them."
No, I'm done.
I said that. We all agreed we were not going to deal with these guys anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Muslims argue against the Trinity in a whole bunch of ways, but I don't be like, hang on a second, you're presenting this argument against the Trinity in a way that Jake doesn't. I'd be like, oh, so what?
It does, Chris. You guys literally do the same thing. And in response to the Islamic dilemma, hold on. In response to the Islamic dilemma, haven't you seen all of your buddies say, look, they have different responses to the Islamic dilemma, which shows that they're actually confused. There's no good response to the Islamic dilemma.
You're missing the point, Jake. It's if we're addressing someone's response and his response is completely different, or his case is different, we would address that. It's like when I was debating John Fontaine, and John Fontaine's response was completely different from Daniel Hakikachu's response. What did I do? Did I I'll just talk about Daniel Hakikachu the entire time anyway. No, I started responding to his position.
Oh, it's because we don't have scripts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta have the script.
So they operate. Everybody has the same script. Now because we're all normal humans, we change according to we are flexible with depending on who's saying what. They're like, why are you all different? No, we're not. It's called being human. You interact depending on what the other says.
But
there's going to be like a million. Go ahead. I was going to say, there's going to be like a million different Muslims going, right, do you know that David says this? And do you know that Avery says this? And then this Christian's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He's just told what he has to say.
So it's true. We have pointed this out where you have this Muslim group responded to the Islamic dilemma, and then this other Muslim group responded to the Islamic dilemma, and some of what this group says contradicts what that group says, and we're like, hey, if this group had it right here and they had it right there, then you have the Islamic dilemma. So like we try to like piece it together. Now, that's because Muslims are confused. They don't actually have an answer to the Islamic dilemma. That's not the case when you have Christians coming up with different versions of the Islamic dilemma. Like I've seen IP just come up with versions of the Islamic dilemma for fun. Like he just comes up with like an Islamic dilemma. Like doesn't mean that the other versions are confusing.
No,
right?
it's just different versions.
Yeah,
of
there are different ways to do one thing. So when Muslims are doing it, it's because they actually are confused. They actually don't have an idea how to respond. And there's basically like 2 or 3 different responses that we've heard. When Christians are talking about the Islamic dilemma, there's like 70 versions that you can hear, not because it's like, oh, this one's more confusing than this one. It's like, depending on the context. Like if you're talking to this particular Muslim, it's usually, I'll like when I'm doing it, like if a Muslim says something on a particular topic, I'll try to turn it on them using the Islamic dilemma on the point that they're raising. It doesn't mean I'm like, oh, David's version of the Islamic dilemma is confusing, so I'm not going to use that. No,
we don't have scripts. We don't have scripts. But we're not robots.
Yeah. But no one's arguing different versions because they think the other one's confusing or whatever. Like Chris, you can run whoever's version. Like Than did like a Bayesian. David and Than did Bayesian versions of the Islamic dilemma.
And even though we both called them the Bayesian Islamic dilemma, we presented completely radically different.
Yeah.
Why? Because you can argue using Bayesian reasoning in a ton of different ways.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that like you think his argument is bad or it doesn't work or something.
We all agree that it's a dilemma.
But the Muslims actually say that their version of their response doesn't work. Like John Fontaine has a response to these other guys. Oh, this is why their response doesn't work. Like they're actually giving. So when you show me the stream where David's doing a response to Chris is saying this is why Chris's version of the Islamic dilemma doesn't work, then you might have a parallel there. But you have Muslims saying this doesn't work for this reason, that doesn't work for that reason, and they're both arguing with each other about that. Show us where Christians are doing that. This is not how you're supposed to argue the Islamic dilemma. It's actually this. It's actually no. These are just paralleling each other, complementing each other. That's it.
He doesn't get that though.
Yeah, forget about nuance. Yeah, he doesn't care about nuance.
Same exact point.
When I'm debating
something, hold on a second, Chris. When I'm debating you, if I'm making an argument that I made against David and Avery, which applies to David and Avery but doesn't apply to Chris, then I wouldn't make the same argument against Chris. I would make a different argument, just as you are going to respond differently to me than you would to John Fontaine or Dean Responds.
Thank you.
That's how it works.
Yeah, so the difference here is that I don't think that the legal authority issue, if you think of it as an issue, I don't think it is. I don't think it has any relevance to the Islamic dilemma. So
it does.
Whereas
the people are.
I think we all agree on that. I think the authority part is relevant insofar as if the Torah and the gospel are corrupted in the way that Muslims believe they are corrupted, it made absolutely no sense for Allah during the time of Muhammad, regardless of how you interpret 929, it made no sense at the time of Surah 5 for Allah to say Jews have to judge by the Torah and Christians have to judge by the gospel, and that the Quran confirms these scriptures. It makes no sense whatsoever. You can try to tweak the meaning of authority. You can say, well, a later verse abrogated that. You can say whatever. It made zero sense, and therefore it's evidence against your position. It's significant evidence against your position because it makes no sense given what you believe. It makes perfect sense if the author of the Quran believes that these previous scriptures actually line up with Islam, which is what we say. Okay.
Yeah.
In the argument the way that I just said.
Okay. Whereas with the Islamic community, broadly speaking, the different perspectives that you guys hold on the Islamic dilemma, that's a different issue because all of that is actually central to the Islamic dilemma. I think John Fontaine's position is central to the Islamic dilemma. Your position, okay, not the authority stuff that you've introduced, but if you were to explain what you think the Torah is, what you think the Injil is, whether you think in general confirmation or conscious edits, if you were to go into that, then that would be central to the Islamic dilemma. But
why
legal authority.
Why is it not central to the Islamic
you just
dilemma?
downgraded
Because
him.
Chris doesn't hold the same view.
No, because you can just ignore it. Like I said, David Wood, I think, categorized it very well.
Nice.
You can just run the Islamic dilemma argument from inspiration and
But
preservation.
Chris, then you would have to admit that the way that they presented it all of these years has been wrong.
Dude,
What
he's not
is
saying,
wrong
he's not
with
saying that you're
him?
presenting a defeater for that position. He's just saying you don't need it. He's like he's saying, look, you can argue that you don't have a defeater to that, but you don't need that to run the Islamic dilemma. He's like, oh, so you're admitting that I defeated that version? No, you didn't defeat it.
You just don't need it.
Yeah.
So petty.
Yeah, it's when we basically present like 10 or 12 lines of evidence under certain categories, right? So under preservation, I might bring up, that the Quran over and over again uses this phrase "baina yadehi" when talking about the previous scriptures. It's between his hands or between his hands or between its hands or in its presence, right? Yeah. This doesn't work well with something that was corrupted centuries earlier. It just doesn't, either literally or as an idiom. You guess what? I could present 10 points in favor of the Islamic dilemma, and you could completely destroy that, or just disagree with me to the point where I don't even want to argue. And I could say, okay, but if you don't agree with me on that, look at these other. Aha! You've been destroyed. No, it's a massive cumulative case. This line of evidence does not line up with your position. This line of evidence does not line up with your position. This line of evidence doesn't line up with your position. This doesn't. This doesn't. This doesn't. This doesn't. This doesn't. Pick any one you want. I'll toss it out for fun.
Exactly.
And guess what? The Islamic still stands. Matter of fact, pick half of those points that you don't like.
Yeah.
Pick half of them. The Islamic dilemma still works.
Yeah, but David, don't you understand
literally a
that
defeater.
you used to say this, but now you say this, and that's bad, and that means that Jake is right about something somehow.
And that's apparently all he's after is
that's all he wants.
Yeah,
it's like it's a personal vendetta. It's like he's so focused on you guys that he's like, I just need them to change a little bit. That way I can validate my own ego and I can feel so much better about myself. And it's like, bro, there's something wrong here. Like,
Chris, can you please just say I defeated that person? Please just say it, Chris.
Okay.
Give it to me, Chris.
Okay, let's just say he did. We got the dilemma in the inspiration and preservation. If you agree that the previous scriptures are inspired and preserved, that means they're authoritative. We're back
what this
again.
means, though, what this means is that they can go and have a party and be like, yes, we managed to do something somehow. We haven't solved the dilemma. The dilemma's still there. It's still just as strong. But who cares? We managed to make David say something minorly different. I think
what he's doing is he's like mining for clips. That's why he's like debating everybody.
Yeah.
So he's gonna make like this like ultimate video where he's like, yeah, but I don't think he got what he wanted. That's why he wants to have like let's have another discussion with David. Let's invite David on. Let's have another. He's probably gonna invite Avery too. He wants to get like this whole compilation of like he wants you to say something, and it's like this ultimate
Islamic
goal.
dilemma committee.
Yeah, he's like, it's like
He's so childish. It's like pitting us up against each other. Oh, but he said that. Oh, but you say it differently.
Yeah, but that's
okay,
what
and
kids
you still
do.
have a dilemma.
That's literally what like kids do when they like debate, right? Like, like all those like really stupid childish behaviors, like when you were a child, they're doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this, man? These guys are not acting like adults anymore.
And huge difference here. When they disagree, they all like fight against each other.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, Chris's version of the Islamic dilemma works.
Yeah.
Avery's version of the Islamic dilemma works. Wes Huff's version of the Islamic dilemma works. Guys,
exactly.
If you have a different version of the Islamic dilemma, roll with it. We're all cool. None of us thinks, hey, the way I formulate the argument is the only way to formulate the argument. And if my formulation of the argument doesn't work in any point, then the entire argument fails. Not one of us thinks like that. We're all quite. Matter of fact, it's good if people present their own versions of the argument. Matter of fact, last year when we started going through it, it was, hey, let's go through all this and figure out the verses you like most and use those in your version of the Islamic dilemma. That's a cool thing to do. You only run into an issue when you get to someone who's like, no, this is the only way to present the argument.
Yeah.
Like you did have that pastor who was like, no, you should just focus on the Old Testament and just do it this way. And shame on David for being different or something like that. Guess what? I look at his argument. I say, roll with that. Awesome. You can go into tons and tons of detail on the Torah and using just that and just using that. So his version of the Islamic dilemma, that pastor guy, roll with it, man. Roll with it all day long. But like that's, but he's the exception as far as this is the way the argument should be presented. Apart from that, we don't fight over this. We don't fight over this. The Dawa guys, they go to war over this stuff.
So that's the anomaly, is like that one guy. But on the other side, is like, I just saw a tweet the other day where they were like, one guy was anathematizing another guy. He's like, this guy actually believes that the Torah is fully preserved and intact, and we just need to perform a type of interpretation of it when it's like problematic to what's seemingly problematic to Islam. That's what he was wording it. And it's like, this is like the norm where they're like anathematizing each other, saying this is a stupid argument, this is bad, this guy's terrible, this guy's horrible, and they're talking about each other. Whereas, like David said, there's like literally one guy who no one's ever heard of who's just like, oh yeah, this is how everyone has to do it my way. And then when he gives his version of it, it's like, wait, that's the Islamic dilemma. That's what the Islamic dilemma is. I don't want to call it that, but anyway.
Little side note, it was hilarious. Avery had a discussion with him, and he was like, Avery had a discussion with him, and he's like, here's my argument. And Avery's like, yeah, that's the Islamic dilemma. And the guy was thinking similar to Jake. He's like, no, the Islamic dilemma is David Wood's argument. And Avery's like, no, the Islamic dilemma is the Quran says is affirming these previous scripture, and you can formulate it in different ways. And like, no, the Islamic, the term Islamic dilemma only applies to David Wood's. And Avery's going, no. And the guy's presenting his arguments. Avery's going, no. And so later on, we're like, okay, he just doesn't like the name Islamic dilemma. He loves using the argument, but not the name. And so he came up with the alternative name, the Muslim difficult decision between two alternatives. I'm like, okay, you just call it that, buddy.
Roll with that. Yeah.
What were you saying, Jack? I didn't mean to cut you off.
And he's just trying to shut down variety, because Muslims can't deal with variety, because with people think for themselves. They think, oh, I saw a contradiction here. Oh, I saw a dilemma here. They can't deal with that. He's trying to narrow it down to something and extract a victory out of it.
Yeah.
We're in the 21st century. People can read. We just read, like Avery says, and they can spot contradictions and spot dilemmas. And that's what happened with the Islamic dilemma. That's, I think, something new we did. We allowed people to start thinking with the Islamic dilemma. They think, oh yeah, here's a dilemma. Yeah. There's another dilemma. Yeah. And Muslims can't deal with that. Yeah. He can't deal with that. He's like, oh, what about the dilemma that David said or Avery said? Isn't it different? Yeah, it all applies, man.
Actually, along those lines, that might be what Jake is thinking, that since when Dawa guys disagree on something, they all start attacking each other and saying, no, my way is better. Your way sucks. No, my way is the best. Your way sucks. Like if he goes in there and starts, well, Avery says, David says, hey, Avery, David, but Chris, he thinks we're all going to start fighting. His argument's stupid. I agree with you. His argument's stupid.
I wasn't even considering
That's why he was being snaky and saying to you, Chris, oh, you're better than the rest, Chris. Oh, you get the nuance, Chris, and the others don't. He's trying to be snake.
You're the good one, Chris.
Hey, guess what Chris is now, Jake? On a stream with us.
He actually said that. He was like, are you going to do
pitting people against each other?
Mm-hmm.
But like,
that's what they do.
In those terms, it's like that's crazy to think that he's actually trying to do that. It's never going to work.
And he doesn't understand. Hey, Jake, you need to watch who you praise, man. Chris's book is about to be like being used in seminaries and Christian schools around the world to teach the young generation the Islamic dilemma. And we've got Jake here saying, yes, Chris, you're the best. You're the only one who gets this part right.
Yeah, so there's when you had a debate with Muhammad Hijab at Speaker's Corner, he said something good about, like, you referenced like a specific year. He's like, oh, you've done your research, so you got to do this. You got to get Jake saying something.
You got to put it all together. Yeah,
put it all together, and then promote
the blurb on the book.
Yeah, promote the book. So you got Muhammad Hijab and Jake, who are, by the way, they're at odds with each other.
Yeah, they don't like each other.
Now they're at odds with each other, and so I mean, so he thinks that we think like that. That's what he's thinking. Oh, okay, now
so petty,
it's never gonna work, dude. Never gonna work.
We're not sects. We're not all these sects, man. Don't worry about it.
Can't divide us, man. Can't divide us. You guys are the kings of division.
You keep that, Jake. You keep doing that.
Whole point.
I don't think you've actually characterized their argument properly.
Okay, so let's listen to David Wood now.
Is that what you?
Oh yeah, let's go to David Wood.
Can I respond?
Hey, play me.
Okay,
He's going to now show
matter of
clips.
fact, let me just answer you fully.
That's not
Yes, I
David
do. I do believe that. Now, let me respond in
not.
full. Daniel.
So, by the way, David now is going to be responding basically
Oh.
to my argument. And
Hey,
Hey, that's
I know
us.
those people.
Is that us now?
It's us. No, it's us and us again.
Whoa.
And Club Pyro.
This is wild, man. All right, let's see.
what I'm saying regarding Avery, and he's going to say nobody really holds that position, and he's going to tell you what his position is.
You're representing it as, well, the Islamic dilemma is claiming that the Torah and the gospel are legal authorities over Muslims, and Muslims have to obey them and not the Quran. Okay, you can run with that, and we're all going to say that's not what any of us has ever said at all.
Right.
So try again. Better luck next time. Interesting. I wish I'd understood that, because then I could have just focused on that and how stupid that is and how it's not anything I've ever said or thought.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
so there,
So at least David doesn't say
that means
then.
Jake's watching.
Exactly.
He's
He's watching
this
us as
stream now
well.
because he's like clip farm and he's like, oh, what can I get? I'm gonna get this little 2-second clip of David here.
He went and clipped us, man,
Yeah. Imagine
Yeah.
watching all these hours to get like.
and he
okay.
still doesn't get it.
But yeah, I don't know where he's going with this, because he said to Malik, the Islamic dilemma is the claim that the Torah and the gospel are legal authorities over Muslims, even over the Quran for
Yeah.
Muslims. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. So
I've never heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
And let's just say that's what Avery was arguing with Daniel there. Let's say that's what he's arguing. What if Avery's just making that point? Like he's saying, like he's not even tying it to the Islamic. He's like, that's like an argument. It's an argument that he's making. But is he saying this is the Islamic dilemma? Is that what he's saying? So so Daniel basically asked him about the prohibition of alcohol, and if Muslims were in doubt, where should they go? Should they consult the people of the scripture? Like that was the whole. I think that was the previous clip he just had up with Avery and Daniel. So he's trying to pit David against Avery, and he thinks that you guys are gonna come up with these videos and like this guy doesn't know.
I mean, depending on what Avery means there. I mean, Avery is just applying 1094. If you doubt, right? So, if that's what Avery's talking about, like doubting that it's revelation, like suppose you're raised as a Muslim and you read in the Quran that it says, hey, you can drink alcohol as long as you sober up before prayer. Or then you read, no, you're not allowed to drink alcohol. Suppose you're there and you're like, I don't actually know. I don't know if this is a revelation from God, that these are all revelations from God. What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
What does the Quran say? If you're doubting that this is revelation, you go to the people of the book.
And that's what Avery said. Yeah. That's
Yeah. So if he means it like that, if what Avery means is I'm not sure whether the Quran says don't drink alcohol or something like that, therefore I'll go with a ruling from the Torah or the gospel. I don't see that, because I don't think I'm trying to think of anything you could use for that. But and notice, guess what? At the end of the day, if Avery were saying, I believe this is saying that if you doubt whether the Quran says something, then go to the Torah or something like that, I would say, okay, I don't think that's what it means. And we just disagree on the meaning of a verse. And we've already pointed out, like in the past, like on Surah 5, verse 68.
Yeah. Yeah.
Muslim commentators and even Christians who are reading the verse disagree on whether, when it says all the revelation that has come to you from your Lord includes the Quran or not. I don't think it means that. There are other people who think it does mean that.
Yep.
Guess what? It's just not clear. It's just not a clear verse. So you could take either position, but it's more along the lines of, okay, if these guys are right, the Islamic dilemma still follows. If I'm right, the Islamic dilemma still follows. There's no scenario where the Islamic dilemma doesn't follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, just moments before this, he showed that clip that we saw a little bit at the end, where it's Avery giving his view on that particular issue.
Yeah.
But Avery actually says in the clip, "Now let me give you my full answer," and then he clips away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he literally,
Of course.
Yeah.
and I was like, I even said, I was like, wait, what? And he was like, oh, don't worry about that. Don't focus on that. Anyway,
Don't
I'm
worry
like,
about Avery's
what?
answer.
It was so dumb, man. It's really childish and silly.
He doesn't.
Oh.
I've never. Hold on a second.
Okay, so is my
Let me
view
finish,
briefly in line
Chris.
with David?
Chris, you don't understand the three
don't
different
get it.
views. Let me go big screen here, maybe to help you. There are three different views. There's
Big
the
screen.
retarded Avery view, which is that the Torah and Injil are even legally authoritative over the Quran. That's the way that he presented it against Daniel. Now that he
No. What he
No.
did was he said, if the question was, if someone doubts this, in the Quran. Guess what? 1094 says, if you're in doubt, go to the people of the book. So if it's a question of whether it's revelation or not, it does say that. It does say that. Now, is that exactly what's being meant there? It could be. I don't know. It's just Allah is notoriously unclear. So guess what? You can interpret that verse that way.
And the dilemma still stand.
So the exact thing that Daniel asked was, if Muslims are in doubt about whether or not alcohol is forbidden, if they're in doubt about whether or not alcohol is forbidden, do you believe they should go to the previous scriptures? And then he said yes to that. And then, like Chris said, he was about to say, let me give you my full position, which apparently, Jake cut off.
Even Maloink said about the things of the sea, the creatures of the sea that are Allah, the Quran is absent.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Is silent on.
Yeah.
Can we go to the Torah? And one of the sects of Sunni Islam says, you say, yes, you can. And Jake said they were the R word.
So Daniel's actually asking if they're in doubt.
Yep.
Should they go to the people of scriptures? He's not saying, so even the way that he framed it wasn't like,
it's not like an absolute
is this yeah, exactly. So,
authority no matter what.
Yeah, it's in other words, none of us would interpret Avery as saying that as a Muslim deciding what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to say, according to the Quran, you're supposed to say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do today. Let me go to the Torah and the gospel for what rules apply to me. Like he's asked, what if you're in doubt? And he just goes, the Quran's got a verse that says what to do if you're in doubt. It says go to the people of the book.
That language, literally.
Yeah.
So
hold on, let me just finish. I'm giving you the three views. Now that he's been busted on that, he's thrown that out. Then we're left with two views. Chris's view, which is in the original period, the Torah and Injil were accepted as legal authorities for the Jews and the Christians to follow, but then at a certain point in time, 929 or some period around then going forward, they're no longer legally authoritative. Jews and Christians who are invited to Islam must follow Islamic law. That's the Chris view. The mainstream Islamic dilemma view, which is the view of David, which is the view of Sam Shamoun, which is now the view of Avery after he's backed down from his other view, is that no, Chris, the early period that you're talking about, that never changed.
The early period, meaning like right before? You're saying the early period when Allah revealed Surah 5, you mean like right before Surah 9, that early period? So Allah just has this whole thing, and he knows, I'm about to change this, but I'm just going to say all this stuff that will completely derail what I'm about to say. And here's what Jake doesn't get. You could go with like an extreme interpretation of Avery. I mean, as far as what Avery's saying, all he did was quote the Quran. That's all he does, read, right? If I'm doubting this, what do I do? It says go to the people of the book. And Jake wants to push that into Avery is saying that the Torah and the gospel are legally binding authorities, even higher than the Quran for Muslims. Okay, suppose you went with that interpretation and said that's one interpretation. And then you've got the interpretation that the commands in Surah 5 were binding until Surah 9 comes along a little later. Or you take my view that, nope, the position of the Quran up until the end is the Torah is what Jews have to judge by, the Injil is what Christians have to judge by, the Quran is what Muslims have to judge by, and everyone has to judge by the scripture that was revealed to their group in their language. Guess what? Take any one of those. The Islamic dilemma works with any one of those. You can say any two of those positions are wrong. Guess what? That does not help you avoid the Islamic dilemma even slightly. It doesn't affect it at all. No. Everything he's doing is a red herring. It doesn't affect the argument, even a tiny little bit.
Yeah, we've never mentioned.
I don't even know if he cares anymore. I think he's just like, okay, I can't deal with the Islamic dilemma, but maybe I can win some totally petty other thing. And that's what he's going for.
And that would be interesting, right? An interesting response. Okay, all right. I understand there's a 0% chance that I'm going to refute the Islamic dilemma. So let me kind of argue this random little point that doesn't affect the Islamic dilemma, but I don't know, maybe I can convince someone on that little point that doesn't affect the Islamic dilemma. Great, hats off to you. But the debates are about the Islamic dilemma, dude.
Yeah, and like we were saying, we never argued.
We never argued,
period.
oh, at this period, the rules were different from that period.
Yeah.
Our point has always been the same. The Quran confirms scriptures that are against it. Quran says Jesus was never crucified and was never resurrected and is never God and is not the Son of God. And confirms it at the same time.
It's
That's
almost
all.
as if that was the
That's all.
substance
Easy
of
to
what we were
understand.
I
saying.
don't care who legal rulings what, who eats what dietary restrictions. That's all I care about in the end. Theology. And 1094 is about if you doubt what has been revealed to you from your Lord. What does that mean? It's not about no diet. It's he's doubting if the source is God or not.
Which applies to all Muslims.
Yeah, and the commentaries do say applies to all Muslims.
That's the majority view, right?
Yeah, so we don't care if Muhammad never doubted. The verse is for all humanity. If you doubt, go to us. I go to the Gospel and the Torah, and it says God is the Father, and His Son is the Lord Jesus, and He was crucified and resurrected. I don't go check a diet. This is for me. This is more important. Theology, and that's what busts Islam. It's not a difference in legal rulings. It's a difference in theology, who God is, what He wanted to do, and what He did.
It's like we're like, so Jesus is the Son of God. This totally, you don't find this in the Quran. The crucifixion is in our Gospels, but you don't find this in the Quran. And then Jake's like, well, hang on a second. We say that you have to wipe your butt with 3 stones. Where is this in this?
Yes, and we will fight.
Basically.
We will subjugate you.
Yeah.
And just because at some time in history Muslim thugs made Christians and Jews pay them money doesn't mean anything.
No.
If anything, it shows how bankrupt Islam is. It couldn't prove itself on theology. They couldn't find a verse in the Bible to find Muhammad in it. So a bunch of thugs came with a sword on the neck saying, give us money. That doesn't mean our scriptures, which your Quran confirmed, are still not the same as they always have been.
Yeah, this is weird stuff. It actually reminds me of what Jesus, when he's, what you were just saying, when Jesus is rebuking the scribes and Pharisees, and he says, you strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. It's like, look how righteous we are. We're doing this. Like, you're missing this big picture of what's going on here. But look at what we're doing right here. We're not eating this gnat. We're making sure that we don't accidentally eat a gnat. It's like you're being complete hypocrites for your entire lives. How is that not a bigger issue to you than you not accidentally eating a gnat?
Yeah.
Right? But Muslims are like, I follow this law and I didn't eat pork. You're the biggest hypocrite I've ever seen in my entire life and the biggest liar I've ever seen in my entire life. How is that not what bothers you? And you support and defend sex with children, all this other, like, how are these not the big issues? And but I never ate pork and I didn't drink alcohol. You see what a good person I am. That's why I'm good with God.
And then Muhammad comes along and he's like, you can eat the gnat, just make sure you eat both wings.
Yeah, both wings. It's like the book.
Donkey.
The book that we just judged as not from God, as per what the book said, go check with the previous and judge. Okay, we judged it as fake. That book says pay the tax. That means the book is legal again. Like what?
Yeah.
We just proved it to be not from God, so it doesn't matter if it makes us pay a tax by the sword. Who cares?
All right. We're actually getting short on time. Let's try and get through the rest of this clip.
And Christians, according to the Quran, are still legally binding, and their scriptures are still legally authoritative for the Jews and Christians to follow today. The Jews.
Little side note: it's just weird that he keeps attacking and mocking me for just reading what Allah says and taking it, thinking that that's what He means.
Yeah.
Like, Jews, you don't need Muhammad, judge by the Torah. And these guys think that when Allah says judge by the Torah, He actually means it. And
because that's what he says. He's like, they think that I actually mean what I say.
Must follow the Torah and all of the laws.
Yeah, he thinks that Allah is just, well,
he's like, Jim.
I get, the Allah is the supreme gaslighter. I never said that. I never said that. What are you talking about? I just said subjugate them is all I said.
The Christians must follow the Injil and all of the laws in it. Even those who have heard about Islam and been invited to Islam, their texts are still legally binding and authoritative. It's these different groups of people. The Muslims are supposed to follow the Quran. Jews supposed to follow the Torah. Christians supposed to follow the Injil. That is the mainstream view. That is David Wood's view. And my authority argument.
And it's what Allah says. It's exactly what He says in Surah 5, verses 43 to 48.
Yep.
If you want to argue that He suddenly changed that, A year or two later, no, actually, do not follow that. You Christians don't follow that, and here's what you need to do. It's like, why in the blue hell did he say that? He could have just left out 543 to. Why was it so important? It's like, hey, you know what? For the next year, 18 months, everyone better follow your book, and then no more following your book. But I really want you to follow the book for like the next year and a half. You got to follow it. For that much time. I'm going to put, it's so important that I have this in my eternal speech to order you right now. Now, don't pay attention to it after next year. Don't pay attention to it. It's like,
Yeah.
he thinks he's helping Allah. It's like you're making Allah look more stupid and incoherent.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Is targeting their view.
Jake, I appreciate the way that you've presented it really did catch people off guard. I think it caught David off guard. And I really like the way you
I
presented.
had zero clue he was going to just go all in on, but later, authority. What exactly? Ain't my authority.
I like how you think like really long and hard about what you appreciate about what Jake's doing there. You're like, it took a second there. Like,
I appreciate
there's got to be something there that I appreciate.
that you exist, that God made you.
You did a really good job, but it really has nothing to do with the Islamic dilemma.
Amen.
No, Jake, you're focusing laser precision, focusing in
That's
on
the
the
issue.
fact that this is what Avery said or this is what David said, and that's it. You're arguing
That's the
against
way
those
they're
people.
presenting the Islamic dilemma.
Right. Okay, so you're arguing against their version, right? Which I don't necessarily think is the right version. I don't think
You don't think they
categorize
believe in that?
properly.
Hold on a second, Chris. You don't
I've
think-
never heard them say that. So I'm literally taking your view
Seriously,
based off
that's really what you believe.
the first one. I'm pretty sure the way I understand that is not the way you understand it. And the second one, he's like, David is even telling you, like he doesn't hold that. So
No, I know that's
I
the
don't know.
first view.
Oh, because
That's
he
the
thinks
first
like
view.
David's
doesn't
like
hold. I already
gaslighting
said
like
that.
him. So he's
I already
like,
said that.
he's
the
just
first
gaslighting
view?
everybody.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Yeah, the first
Which
view,
view?
which is the first view, which was Avery's original view, which is that the Torah and Injil are legally binding and authoritative even over Muslims.
I don't,
David doesn't
I get
hold
that
that view and never
from
did.
what Avery
Never
actually
held
said.
that view. I've already said that.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
But David
They're
holds
all-
the view. Chris, how are you not understanding this? You're dividing Islam into
Chris-
two periods. You're dividing a first period and a second period. The first early period of Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 85, and your interpretation of that, and your interpretation of 543 to 548, David and others are saying that that never changed. Their understanding of that is going forward from that.
Completely stupid. Jake, let me make it really simple for you. If as of Surah 2 verse, as of the revelation of Surah 2 verse 85, if Allah is saying, Jews, you have to believe in all of your book, not just parts. You have to believe in all of it. I would interpret that as he's confirming all of the book.
Yeah.
I would even allow, and I did in the debate, I would even allow that can include legal rulings that have been abrogated by later legal rulings, right? Just as you as a Muslim, you would say you believe in all of the Quran, even though you don't believe all of the legal rulings apply to you now, and so on. Okay, I can grant that. The only way that you can somehow get out of the Islamic dilemma, in other words, the only way that the problem with Surah 2 verse 85, or the problem with Surah 5 verse 43, or the problem with Surah 5 verse 47, the only way that you could do away with the Islamic dilemma is if you said, like, as of Surah 2 verse 85, yes, he's confirming the entire Torah. But then right after that, the entire Torah globally was magically corrupted. And therefore, by the time you get to later, now it's been corrupted. So the ones you guys have now, these have been corrupted. That's what you need to get out of the Islamic dilemma. But this ruling might not apply anymore. Okay, he affirmed the entire Torah as his speech. The Torah contradicts the Quran. The Torah that existed during that time contradicts what the Quran says. The gospel that existed at that time contradicts what the Quran says. So how, in the name of common sense, even if you want to say, it doesn't apply anymore, don't follow that anymore. Okay, he still affirmed it as his word. And so the Islamic dilemma follows. So in other words, it doesn't matter. You could say, as of Surah 9 verse 29, I don't know how you would interpret it this way. As of Surah 9:29, Allah says, you know what? Don't follow any of those previous scriptures ever. Don't do it. It would not change the fact that they are, according to him, his inspired, preserved word, and that they contradict Islam on basic doctrines. You're screwed, man. There's no way out of this, and these smoke screens aren't helping you.
Time all the way up until now, such that those texts are legally binding and authoritative for each respective group. That's their position. You don't think that that's their position?
That's what Allah says, dude.
I don't believe it is. I mean, I'll ask them. I'll ask them after this live stream, but
okay.
I don't.
And
think
if it is, does my argument target their point?
Their point, but it doesn't target the Islamic dilemma.
If they define in the Islamic dilemma the authority aspect to include what I just said, then that targets the Islamic dilemma.
Did not David Wood say to you at the end of the debate that you had with him that you can just run it from the inspiration and preservation points?
Dude, I already agree with that. You're missing the whole.
Then you are then. Okay.
He agrees that you can run the Islamic dilemma just on inspiration and preservation.
He really wants you to say that you got him on.
So he basically just thinks he got you on the authority bit.
It's never going to happen, Jake.
But the dilemma still.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, Jake. You're never going to get David on a point. It's just
That's all he wants.
It's impossible, Jake. I'm telling you, Jake. It's impossible for you to get David on a point.
But what he doesn't get is if its inspiration and preservation are intact, that's de facto authoritative. That's default authoritative.
Yeah.
If it's from Allah inspired and preserved.
He equivocates with the term legal authority and all types of authority. He equivocates in this whole discussion back and forth. By the way, he takes this back later on in the debate. He changes his mind because later on,
he does that a lot.
What? And then I never said that.
Yeah, I never said that. And I was like, bro, you said you agree that you can run it with just these 2 points. But then he's like, oh, I don't think that works. And I'm like, but you said you could. Oh no, he's really
he does that a lot.
This is just terrible. Let's see, but it's awesome that you got him to admit that right there.
Great. So you've just accepted. No, you've missed the point.
Let me back up a little just so we can see that again.
To include what I just said, then that targets the Islamic dilemma.
Did not David Wood say to you at the end of the debate that you had with him that you can just run it from the inspiration and preservation points?
Dude, I already agree with that. You're missing the whole.
Then you are
point.
then. Okay, great. So you've just accepted. No, you've missed the point. You've missed the point that you don't need to argue authority at all.
Yeah,
it's just something useful.
You need to come out and admit. Wow, Jake actually bent this over. Okay, he really worked this over and showed us. Hold on, he really showed us. He really showed us that the way we've been presenting the argument for 20 plus years has been wrong this entire time. Our interpretation, our interpretation of these verses of the Quran with respect to the authority aspect of the Islamic dilemma, we have interpreted wrong the entire time. We needed Jake and Chris from Speaker's Corner to come forward and tell us that we were wrong about this. And now, okay, we're going to modify the argument. We're just going to go based off of inspiration preservation. And now we're going to run the argument off of that.
No, Jake.
Yeah,
you're stupid.
Again.
Thank you.
Understand
That's
the
exactly
point.
What he is.
If suppose Allah's only saying just for the next year, maybe 18 months, the Torah and the gospel are authoritative for Jews and Christians. Does that make sense if the Torah and the gospel were corrupted? No, it doesn't. So does it make sense of your view that the Torah and the gospel are corrupted? Does that line up with your view that the Torah and the gospel are corrupted? No. Yeah, it's one thing if you said the Torah and the original Torah and the original gospel were authoritative until they were corrupted. That would be one thing. That would fit in with what Muslims claim. But that's not what's going on. It's Muhammad during the time of Muhammad, Allah is saying the Torah and the gospel are authoritative for Jews and Christians. He's saying it that right then. That does not make sense if they were corrupted centuries earlier. It makes zero sense, dude. In other words, your view does not line up with what Allah says. You could say he abrogated something, a year later or 2 years later. Doesn't affect the argument at all. It's like there are Muslims who don't believe that verses of the Quran abrogate other verses of the Quran.
Yeah,
they don't believe it.
Yeah,
they try to reconcile them and harmonize them all. They don't believe it. Mm-hmm. So suppose you had two Muslims arguing, and one Muslim says, "I don't believe that any verse of the Quran abrogates another." Another guy says, "Well, I believe that that there are verses of the Quran that do abrogate other verses." Yeah. And they still all believe in all the Quran, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And anyway, and none of it, and neither one of them would say it's been corrupted, right? So anyway, I don't know what to do with
And
this
it's
guy.
still all authoritative as a book, even with abrogated verses in it.
And they have that same debate about the Sunnah. Some say the Sunnah can abrogate the Quran. Some say it can't. They have that debate. That's a debate Muslims have.
It doesn't mean that they believe the Quran is not authoritative.
Or the Sunnah.
Like, this is really stupid.
It's really stupid.
All right. Well, let's take these last few super chats. We had more stuff to get to, but Chris wouldn't stop talking.
I know.
Poor
It took so
Chris.
much, man. Yeah, there's just like some highlights that happened in this as well. He compared himself to Daniel Hikikachu and wanted to basically say how much better he is than Daniel Hikikachu. So,
Oh,
okay.
really? Oh, he wanted you to
yeah.
say that he's better than
Yeah,
Daniel?
he yeah. So I said it for him. I was like, "Oh,
Dude,
yeah,
this guy's pathetic.
like, yeah, I know.
That's why
it's
he's doing
funny.
all this.
His ego is so fragile.
He like wanted to attack me on something. He was like, "Oh," he brought up, "Do you know what Satanists are?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not personally acquainted with them." And he was like, "Oh, well, you know, there's that." And he tried to like say something about me, but then he stopped himself. And then he was like, "Oh, because you listen to like heavy metal music." And I was like, "Okay." So I brought up Ijaz, who also listens to heavy metal music, and which is interesting, right? Because he's a Muslim, and he listened. Like his favorite metal artist is a pro-Israeli, anti-Hamas heavy metal band called Disturb. And I literally, so there's pictures online of the lead singer writing on an IDF artillery shell, F Hamas. There's pictures of this. So I just sent them these pictures, and I'm like, I'm so like on X, I'm so intrigued that you really like this band, Jazz. It's really interesting. But yeah, I don't know. He brought up that, and so I just.
So he said you're
talked about it, Jazz.
satanic because you like music.
Yeah, apparently. And then, so I just brought up the
Sounds
fact
like
that
a
his
Muslim would
Muslim
say.
brother does.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a Muslim would say, yeah.
Yeah. And then the only last thing I can remember is he said, okay, so I finally got him to somewhat address right near the end some points on the Islamic dilemma. And I was like, okay, if you think the scriptures are corrupted, can you give me any reasons or motives for why Jews would corrupt their own Torah? And he says, yeah, I can. And I was like, okay, what motive? And he goes, they're hypocrites. So I said, so you think the Jews corrupted their own scriptures because they're hypocrites? And he was like, yes. And basically, I drew this out, and he was like, come on, don't you understand that like they worship the golden calf? You know, obviously they're hypocrites. They do all this kind of thing. And I was like, hang on, but didn't they like worship these kind of things because, you know, they thought there was some reason, some practical reason for doing it? And then he makes this claim that no pagan, like, or anyone who did like a pagan act of worshipping other gods, did so because they believed that idols are effective in any way. They all none of them have ever believed that ever. And I was like, what? I was like, so why do they do it then? And he was like, because they're hypocrites.
Oh, okay.
It was so like, I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he's completely gone.
Yeah,
man.
he's
completely gone.
Yeah. But yeah, that's bizarre highlights.
That's terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. And I get the big takeaway is, look at this. Everyone, you've Jake in the past several days has had multiple debates on the Islamic dilemma. Here you have a discussion on the Islamic dilemma. He has presented nothing that affects the Islamic dilemma at all. And he's the guy who's been bragging about being the best at this. That should clue you guys in that they do not have a serious response to the Islamic dilemma, and that everyone should be using the Islamic dilemma, learning it. And that's, I was completely serious when I said, what do you do now? What do you do when this time next year, Christian schools around the world are actually studying as coursework, learning the Islamic dilemma? What do you do? What do you do when Chris's book is required reading? What you know? We can interpret 929. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. You guys keep running with that. Any insight on witnessing to Sufis? My sis is one.
Speaking about Sufis and Jake,
he thinks they're not Muslims.
yeah, but he lives in a country that
Full of Sufis
yeah.
and Asharis. Morocco.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to kind of depend on the particular Sufi, but Yeah, I'd still go Islamic dilemma. Now, what's weird is you can get Sufis, because we got Isa, who's a Sufi, and he just agrees with us, right? He's just, yep, the Quran is affirming these previous scriptures.
He wrote a paper on it.
Yep.
He literally wrote a paper agreeing with our position, which is, well, really interesting.
Yeah, so, but, people are different. So I'm guessing you'd have to, your sister way better than any of us could possibly ever know her. But yeah, I'd still approach it the normal way. Ask questions about why you believe this, and then start investigating with her whether those are actually good reasons.
Yeah.
Jake the metafictician. Allah, why are you doing what I told you to do? It's funny that Jake's just mocking the idea. they treat it as authoritative because Allah said so. Yeah, you got it, DOC. You all need ChatGPT script, and then everything will be fine. Yeah, that's what we need. We all need the same script, and then it'll all work. Isaiah 9:6 was changed. Your book corrupt. Septuagint versus Maseret. And that's from the account. Shamoun owes me jizya. Muslims... Wait, the Septuagint?
Yeah, that doesn't contradict the Masoretic text. They complement each other.
Yeah. Muslims equals small language model, so idolize ChatGPT. Honestly, if we were to entertain Jake's zooted straw man argument, he's putting Allah in a double dilemma based on the actual dilemma. Yeah, you can make new dilemmas based on Jake's positions. Fearless Truth prefers the continuity argument too, which is just another dilemma. Lots of dilemmas. Allah is commanding us to follow the Torah and Injil, which contradicts the Quran, and at the same time commanding his Muslims to force the jizya on us for following his command. Yeah, can you imagine that? I order you! I'll send you to hell if you don't judge by the Torah and the gospel. Okay, we're going to follow the Torah and the gospel. No, I have to subjugate you with the jizya for doing exactly what I just ordered you to do!
Can't win. Can't win.
Wild stuff. Oh, here we have this again. Septuagint versus Masoretic. Genealogy 1,000-year difference. Thanks for the super chat. One Muslim versus 20 Islamic dilemma experts only on Jake the metaphysician. Yeah. We should start saying Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, however the proper Arabic goes.
That's pretty close. That's pretty good.
That's really good, yeah.
Even if it isn't authoritative at all, if the gospel is preserved and confirmed, then Allah contradicts himself by revealing contradictory things. Yeah, that's exactly what we've been saying.
Yep.
The reason for bringing up the authority is that the Quran contains a number of verses which tell Jews and Christians that the Torah and the gospel are authoritative for them. And because Allah makes it even authoritative over the Quran as to whether the Quran is revelation from Allah. That's the point of the authority. Apart from that, you can have all kinds of different views. The point stands. That doesn't make sense at all if Allah thinks the Torah and the gospel have been corrupted. I think you all got them to a point when they are all like, what is a dilemma?
What's a dilemma?
What's a debate? What's a dilemma? Different people at different times. Jake, the Quran was to the Muslims over 40 years and still repeatedly abrogates itself. Hey, Chris, can we pre-order your book on the Islamic dilemma?
So, no, probably not pre-order. If I did that, I would have to do it just for the ebook. So there'll be a paperback, a hardback, and an ebook when it comes out, and it will be available on Amazon. Probably not pre-orders. So basically, just wait for me to appear all over the place and start telling you to buy it. Then you'll know it is ready.
Yeah, you guys will know. We will make sure everyone knows when the book is ready. I still want to know why Allah sent 3 different revelations if he sent revelation to all people. Well, yeah, he sent it to different people, to different groups, because they spoke different languages. That's what the Quran says. And people need a revelation in their own language so they can understand it. Dear Brother Chris, God bless you. You are truly a warrior for Christ. Nowadays, not seen at Speaker's Corner. You see Chris is hiding?
I know I'm hiding, man. No, it's because I've been super busy, ridiculously busy. One of the things I'm busy with is this book. In fact, that's probably the main thing.
Wait, you're writing a book?
Yes. I don't know if I mentioned. I'm writing a book on the Islamic dilemma. I told Jake about it, and he wanted a copy. So what does that tell you? Actually, that's probably not a good endorsement, but anyway, yeah. So I will be back at Speaker's Corner soon. In fact, at least I'll be there at least once in March. So yeah,
And yeah, it'd be cool when you show up with your book and like hand it to Dawa guys and say, "Dude, read this and start over, buddy." What in the world is this whack ass religion? That's what I'm wondering. And heard of Brian Dillingear and his Godhead theory? No, I haven't. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Still lots of stuff going on with the Islamic dilemma. So unless a meteor hits us or something like that, pretty sure we'll have more coming up on the Islamic dilemma. Looks like Jake is still intent on continuing to debate and so on. So we're going to have plenty of material on this. But lots of other stuff to cover all year long. This is going to be an awesome, awesome year. And the real question is whether February can possibly be any worse than January was for them. We're going to find out. But I'll be talking, we're a couple minutes behind already, but here in probably 10 minutes or so, I'll be live with Thaddeus as we go through why January was the worst year in Dawa history. I mean, why it was the worst month in Dawa history. Right after we had the worst year in Dawa history, we had the worst month in Dawa history to start off 2026. These are fun times, guys. These are fun times. And Pendragon says, does the book come leather-bound? We'll find out. We'll find out.
He went to leather. Oh, boy.
All right, guys. And I have a link to the entire discussion on Chris's channel in the description box. So you can watch all of it. And maybe you'll be powerfully persuaded by Jake's awesome argument. But you could check it out. And we'll catch y'all next time. And I'll hopefully see you guys in a few minutes.
God bless.
Catch y'all later.
God bless, guys.